Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well, and welcome to today's bonus. Before we jump into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's bonus, shall we? A couple of years ago, I was introduced to a gentleman by the name of John Phoenix. He lives or lived in Sweden, and wanted to share some of these Dogman experiences and information that he had. We broke it down into a 3-part upload, 3 separate days. Initially, there was kind of a meet and greet interview that we did. Not a lot of information was shared. And then we jumped into 1, 2, and 3, where he broke down some things that he has experienced and believes. So I figured, let's put it all into one big upload, because I got an email a couple days ago asking about John Phoenix and where someone could find all of the uploads. And I said, well, I'll make it easy for you. I said, on Sunday, I will make one large part 1 through 3 upload with John Phoenix. So here we go. All right, everybody. Today I have a special guest with us. I did a kind of pre-interview with him a couple days ago. John Phoenix. John, how are you today?
Thank you very much for having me back. I'm awesome.
I appreciate you coming back. I'm glad that we were able to get our times and everything squared away. The pre-interview, a lot of people liked, and I liked it. You were kind of a little put off. You were a little upset at how it went. I thought it was great. Everyone else did too. So
yeah, no, not upset, but it was like all the listeners there. It was off the cuffs. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was not amped up, but I wanted to give Jeff so much information, and we jumped from different subjects. So now we're going to be a little bit more structured, and I'm going to talk slower, because now it's not 4 o'clock in the morning for me. It's 8 p.m. here. Right.
And like you said, you were passionate. You're passionate about this. This is your life, and you're sharing information with us, because I think it's like 85% of my listeners are from America, and you're sharing a culture and kind of a different creature than what we have here. Yeah, I mean, it has a dog-like body and a dog face and head and tail and this and that, but it is a different creature all in all. One thing that John did just share and clarify with me is he had mentioned the picture of Alpha. We're going to be able to share that with you guys. That's going to be the picture that you guys are seeing now. And I want to thank you for allowing us to share that. You did ask Alpha about, because I had brought up the crawlers, and you had asked Alpha about the crawler / rake. What kind of information did he share with you about these creatures, or did Miss Misha? And really quick, before we even get into that, how do you directly speak to Alpha, or do you speak to him through Miss Misha? How does that work? Because we're going to hear about her.
We're going to start there because Miss Misha is on a whole nother level than I am. And she is very spiritual, and she knows a lot of stuff that I actually in my cradle with. I just have started to open up more and more for different kind of stuff, but it is mainly, of course, the cryptozoology. And I am in contact with Alpha whenever he wants, but I can't just be in constant contact with Alpha as she does, because they are on speaking terms all the time. So I asked Ms. Misha about the crawlers, and she just tuned in, and she got an answer straight away. And when I speak now, or before the show, I wrote to Jeff, then Alpha can get in contact with me. And actually, this sounds also ridiculous, but I'm working so much in English, so he actually speaks telepathically with me in English more than Swedish. When he speaks to Miss Misha, he speaks with an ancient Norwegian, Swedish, Icelandic accent, and they speak pretty slow, not like they are slow in that way, but articulated.
Right.
And it sounds funny because it has a deep voice, and for me, I can equivalent this one to Mufasa when he was dead and spoke to Simba. And it's funny. You start laughing a little bit, of course, when you hear it, but it was a deep, almost like James Earl Jones voice. And then it's Alpha.
Okay.
And Alpha has been here in my apartment one time to just check me up, and it was not him physically, of course, but it was almost like a hologram. And I was not afraid, and he has to bend his back because here in Sweden the roof is approximately 9 feet, I believe. And I was also stated that I saw that somebody said I just had this wrong figures. And yes, because 4 o'clock in the morning is a little bit hard to convert metric system into miles in some way. So I will state that they can run up to approximately 110 miles per hour. That's equivalent to 180 kilometers per hour. Of course, that's a maximum speed. And the distance they can cover in one take is approximately 370 miles, which is 600 kilometers in one take. And if somebody say, no, how can they run that long distance? Well, check the cars. If they jog in 55, 60 miles per hour, not the maximum speed, they can reach a pretty good distance in a couple of hours, which they do.
Yeah.
It's common sense.
Yeah. I mean, I just recently drove 300 miles from my house to Rhode Island in I think it was less than 3 hours, because I was going over 65 miles an hour. Yeah, you're going to have people like that in the comment section. The majority of people, will understand what they understand it was 4 a.m, but there's those people that just they have nothing better to do with their time, so they want to correct you, or just it's almost like a sense of entitlement, I guess. But anyway,
I'm just going to state one more thing. I'm apologize for I choose some words, wrong words. So bewildered is of course feral or more animalistic, and I will also state that the Nordic lores with the gnomes and the trolls, there are of course very, very few people who actually believes in that. They are from different dimensions, so they're not from the same dimensions as Bigfoot and Dogman.
Okay.
And they're only the ones who are spiritual, few who are spiritual, who can actually see trolls and gnomes. So those kind of beings are in a total other dimension from the ones from the cryptozoology point of view. And also that the only thing that people know now is that I am living in Stockholm. So more than that, you won't get.
Right.
Not where in Stockholm, but Stockholm City, Sweden, the capital of Sweden.
That's, yeah. I mean, you don't have to. I always tell anybody it's your anonymity. So, you don't have to explain that. That's something you don't have to share or explain. So,
no.
So getting on to the crawler thing.
Fire it away.
Yeah. Getting on to the crawler thing. What was the information shared about the crawlers?
The alpha, he said crawlers, and then she said, this one pale white, they call them the rake, and he said more or less, the rake. Yes, we look upon them as, peasants, and they fighting for the same food source, because you see the picture, or actually a short movie, of course, online, that there was one crawler who was bending in and had one moose, I think, in sight. And Dogman and Bigfoot, like I said before, they protect. So up here, we don't have any crawlers because they immediately kill them for these two reasons. Not fighting over food, and they are actually rodents. So they smash the skull in, more or less immediately. And Bigfoot use boulders and stomp on them, and Dogman, they usually don't use boulders, and they just jump on them, kill them instantly.
And you had said to me, right, they do it if they can right out of the portal that they come out. So they come out of portals. Are they, like you had just shared with us, these gnomes, fairies, etc., are on a different, or come from a different kind of plane from Bigfoot, Dogman? Do these crawler-like creatures come from a different plane, or are they from where they also come from?
They're cryptids, so they come from the same kind of level or dimensions as the rest of the different cryptids.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, when we had talked, you had kept referring to a hierarchy or in a structure similar to a biker gang.
Yes.
But after I had listened to the upload and I sat and I thought about everything, a biker gang is pretty much modeled after a government. And so the European dogmen have their own kind of government, essentially. Correct. Now, is the alpha that Misha and you are familiar with, is he the all-powerful alpha, or is there someone above him?
No, he's the all-powerful alpha for this continent. Then he has equals in North America, South America, Australia, Asia, and Africa. Okay. All right. And they are equal because they get together, of course, have meetings physically, and just like you say, like a higher government, a world government,
almost like a parliament, kind of.
Yes. And I will state that each and every big alpha or alpha, they take care of their own stuff. So the other ones, they don't interfere unless it's a mutiny or something big. Okay. It's each continent for themselves, if you say in that way. Right. Still, though, they can call for help or ask for assistance or advice if needed.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's basically a government. It's very interesting that they have that, they're that intelligent to where, I mean, we've always looked at them as intelligent. Even the / North American Dogman, which is not of pure blood, I guess you had said prior. Can you explain that to us a little bit better? Why is the alpha of Europe more pure blood than the alpha of North America, or so on and so forth? You know what I mean?
Yeah, as far as I know, everything started up here in the Nordic countries. So that's why everything, they migrate from here.
Okay. And
the civilization is and was the highest here. I think I wrote in the comment section that human civilization's highest peak, not peak, but highest star has been a different, you have ancient Greece, you have Egypt, you have some Arabic countries nowadays that actually was the locomotive of the whole civilization of the world. The same thing down in South America and the Chinese dynasty, and also up here in Europe. The heart of civilization and the motor of human civilization has been different through different times. When Greece was the highest one, everybody followed it, and the Romans were enemy, and then the Romans took over, and you have all the things with inventions, you have the mathematics, you have the politics, everything. So it makes sense that everything stems from up here. So it was a role model for the rest of them, and then of course they have to migrate because they want to spread almost like the Vikings going, or you exploring from Portugal and Spain. As long as I know.
Right.
I don't know that much about it, but this is what I know about. That's why they also settled in North America. They came over, and then, like I said before, when they don't have any contact with humans, if you have a great civilization and you coexist, and then you go somewhere else and be a new settler, and you don't have these interactions with humans or something, that's why you get more wild, or you can do a little bit more whatever you like. And that's the way it is.
Right. All right.
So trading was up to 1003 here, and then everything crumbled down. They parted ways with the Vikings.
That was
the reason why, but
that was going to be my question. My next question is, what was the fallout? What hurt the relationship between human and Dogman in your area?
It's both territorial and also trading. I know that down in around the Mediterranean, when they were mercenaries, they didn't get paid. That was the fallout, because they think the humans are greedy, and they think the humans, due to inventions, they think they are actually on a higher level. So then the humans became cocky, so they didn't pay and nurture for this collaboration.
Okay.
This deal, you can say. So that's why it was a big fallout, and then they became enemies, of course, because if you work and you do a good job and you set your own life and you put your own life to risk, and then you don't get paid.
Right.
Of course, you turn to the employers.
Yeah.
Of course, they say F you.
Yeah. When you turn to your yeah, exactly. And they were, as you said, mercenaries. They were paid warriors.
Yes.
And that really, that statement there really adds some concrete to the experience from Alexander the Great, where he had come across a tribe of dog-headed men, as he exclaimed them, and they were very off to him, and not, they weren't looking forward to trading and hugs and kisses. They were just like, get the hell out of here, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
They lost the Dogman back then. They lost the faith in humanity, you can say, because it shows exactly what humans with power are: greedy. not liable.
Right.
Look upon the world today. Same thing, same story.
Exactly.
When you get omnipotent in your own world, you get very greedy and you are not trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you had mentioned portals,
Yes.
which when someone thinks portals, they think different dimension, alternate universe, whatever. The Dogmen, they came from these portals, correct? Or were they here all the time? Were they from this earth?
They are born here and they die here, but initially, well, from the beginning, both they and Bigfoot, they came here, were put here on Earth by some force, higher power, whatever.
Right.
They came here, so they didn't came through any portals. Portals is just an asset for them, so
Okay.
they can go within different dimensions.
So they aren't from an alternate dimension. They're from here initially.
They are not from Earth and not from our solar system. They are from other systems. They were put down here to protect the humans. And then, like I said, the portals are just a good thing for them because they are interdimensional.
Yeah.
So they can jump to different dimensions and different, I don't know about different universe, but different places.
Well, it's interesting because, like you just said, they're not from this earth, but there's been a few experiences, encounters that people have seen dogmen or dog-headed like creatures coming out of some sort of spacecraft. There's been a couple of different experiences, and that's obviously if they're coming off some sort of spacecraft, they're not from this earth.
Exactly.
Which is,
and also, you also everybody has to keep in mind that there are different species of this kind of dogman, even though those ones are here are the pure ones, as I said before. So I don't have that too much knowledge about the things more than I just said that they are actually different. They come from different planets. They come from different systems and everything. But the ones that we have here is from a certain place.
Right.
So that's why some of them can see that they're a little bit different looking, and then they're not from the same place.
Yeah. And that there's a connection right there with the Egyptians, because the Egyptians always talked about these, flying portal or flying saucers, flying crafts, not saucers, gods who descended from the skies. And, the Egyptians, they were intelligent, but, if you see something come out of the sky at that point, you're going to automatically think that's a god. And there's the explanation of Anubis, the dog-headed god-like creature. Very fascinating. And it just blows my mind that there's all these little connections that form this big puzzle. And it seems like no matter how many of these little connections you get, the puzzle just keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like a never-ending puzzle.
Exactly. Because if you think that the Egypts, they think that they were the superior culture, and boom, something else comes down and say, hey, this is how you build a pyramid. And they, what? Of course.
Right. Now,
everything changes for humans when they interact with higher powers of some kind, aliens or dogmen or even Bigfoot.
Yeah. Has there ever been a war between dogmen and Bigfoot? Like an all-out kind of war? Or are you aware of that?
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
Because they're here for the same purpose. So there are some, of course, territorial clashes. There still is, especially in Canada and US. Not over here. Like I said, up here north, we don't have that many clans of Bigfoot. Sorry.
You're fine.
So that's a huge difference between the North America and Europe, and down south, southern mid part of Europe, they don't have many Bigfoot as well. There's more Dogman than Bigfoot here.
Right. Yeah. You had said that they use primitive or had used primitive tools at one time. Do they still? They can manage fire and simple tools. Do they still use fire and simple tools, or what? I mean,
yes, they can use fire when it's really, really cold up here, in the cave systems,
right,
to warm themselves. But they have so thick fur, so they don't need it because it's pretty warm for them down there. And they can also use axes and not hammers, but simple tools. And they use it on and off, but not on a regular basis.
Right.
No.
Now, how about so along that line, fire tools, clothing, jewelry. Do they?
Yes, clothing. They have ceremonial clothes. Up here, Alpha told us that they have similar clothes as the Vikings when they have the ceremonies. Otherwise, just clothes they don't need it.
Like a headdress or something, or
no, like capes.
Okay.
Exactly like the capes, the Viking capes that they have in Vikings.
Right, like kind of a moose hide or bear hide or something like that, constructed like that. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That kind of capes.
So jewelry is a no or a yes on that? Because I've heard.
I'm gonna ask because that was a good question. I haven't heard Miss Misha mention jewelries.
Yeah, because there was a guy from Tennessee. If you could bring this up to her, there was a guy from Tennessee who had come on the show, and very nice guy. He had been, and he wanted to clarify it, that he said, he had been using hallucinogenics, but prior to his use of hallucinogenics, he had seen a dogman in the trees in Tennessee in the woods. And then shortly after, I believe it was his mom had passed away, and he's sitting in his yard. He was aware of a dogman being out there. And this dogman came out of the woods, spoke to him telepathically, but he had noticed kind of like braids, like almost like a Native American would do with their hair, with like kind of a braided bead thing in their hair. And I had also heard of experiences, a person went into a cave at one point and had seen a couple of dogmen with like silver jewelry or kind of like a turquoise jewelry, which to me doesn't sound too far-fetched, because back in the day there was trading with humans, and maybe these were just passed on through, the years. Because I mean, if a dogman,
it sounds very logical, because back in the ancient time they have the armor, they have the spears, they have the swords, and probably jewelers as well.
Yeah. It's almost like
they were imitating a human.
Yeah, it's
up here they don't have it as far as I know so far. I can ask.
Okay.
I don't. Miss Misha hasn't mentioned anything about that one.
Okay.
And Alpha hasn't told us about that one too, so it's probably a moot point for him. Like, no, we don't wear jewelers, we don't wear braces and braids, even braids.
When you see Alpha, he is just. Can you explain to everyone what Alpha looks like from head to toe?
Oh, he looks like a big black German Shepherd, but 5 times bigger. You will see in the picture, he's standing in the foliage, and he actually told Miss Misha, take a picture. We were standing at the bog, and the whole pack was surrounded us. They surrounded us from 11 o'clock until 7 o'clock, if you think clockwise, not time-wise. And I didn't see them. I actually didn't felt them either. So to prove, she asked him, "Can we take a picture?" And that was one of the first picture that she has taken. So she took that picture, and we checked the phone later on, and she said, "There is." And I said, "Okay." And then just enchanting the picture, and you see it very clearly. So he looks like a big black German Shepherd with German Shepherd ears, and you see the snout, and he is 3.15 meters, which is 10 feet some inches. He's huge.
Okay. All right.
And of course, he was standing a little bit further away, and the other ones, they mutter like, "Oh, why do they have to take the pictures?" Blah blah blah. And he says, "Shush, I am in charge here. You can take a picture."
Right. Right. So, to me, and I may be wrong, it feels like, okay, so if anyone's hearing this, and I'm just looking at it as a perspective of not knowing, or, you know, maybe I'm just new to Dogman and this and that. But how you explained this, there was trading, then they were mercenaries, which meant, if you think of mercenaries, you would think of soldiers with weapons, and which back then would be like swords, battle axes, I'm assuming, and this and that, cloaks, capes. But now it almost seems like they reverted. Once the war with humanity happened in 1003, that they kind of just gave up on human stuff and said, you know, now it's more or less they don't use tools, and they just run like they were meant to run.
Exactly, they're going back to the roots in that way. Because also when they have this altercation of falling out, of course they don't want to use human weapons.
Right.
They don't need it. Because if you're not a mercenary and you don't work for somebody else, they don't need it. They're using the of course the claws and the hands and the arms, and so that's why they have, like, exactly like you say, fallen out from this kind of ancient tools.
Right. Yeah.
They're going back to basic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said,
just going back to nature.
Being Dogman. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Now,
it's not that they can grab a sword if they want to run, but also now is a different time because now people don't know about them.
Right.
So how do you explain it? 5, 6, 10 Dogmen come running with cape swords, and you know, then a human, if he or she sees that, they have to stop smoking the mushrooms.
Yeah.
that would be a sight for sore eyes.
Well, you know,
if nobody believes me now, or if I explain to the whole world, imagine if you say, "Yeah, so 10 Dogmen running with the Roman swords and shields, and capes," and they say, "Oh no, he lost it."
Interestingly enough, though, is the Grimm fairy tales. Everyone knows who the Grimm brothers are, and they are from Germany.
Yes.
Which is the old country, right? Very close to you guys. I mean, you just walk kind of around and you're right in Sweden. It's almost like they were just writing a recorded history in a sense.
Yes, they did. Yes, and if you look upon the TV series, the same thing as you said about dog soldiers. Some things are not that far-fetched.
Yeah, it's like soft disclosures. When me and you were talking about soft disclosures, there's my view on a soft disclosure is that from government standings is that the government really wants to keep us still in the dark, but because we become aware of these things, they're like, let's give them a little bit of information that's true, but combine it with a little fiction, and that's the soft disclosures that we get.
Yeah. And also I will state that not everybody in all the governments, all the authorities are aware about it, only those ones with concerns.
Right, who are in the know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe President Biden, he doesn't know about it, but President Trump, of course, did.
Obama.
Or President Clinton. Or President Obama, President Clinton. So not everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Like they're sitting down around the table in the meeting and say, yeah, by the way, we have Dogman and Bigfoot here. No.
Okay.
Especially in these countries up here.
Now, you had sent me a couple pages of information.
Yes.
And I'm just going through looking at it. I've already looked at it, but I'm scanning through it. And I kind of am laughing at this one. Bigfoot are horny peepers because they are closer to human DNA. Now, they are what's the DNA that you know of? Are they like, because I always, when I look at a Dogman and I look at a Bigfoot and I look at a human, I see something that could be related somehow with some sort of chromosome that, it may not be 100%. It may not even be 20%. It might be 5% of that DNA has some, there's genetic markers, whether it be small, large. So Bigfoot has a genetic marker that's similar to ours. Dogmen do not. Is there any kind of genetic makeup that is similar?
It was actually not my words. It was somebody else. I missed that one. But I can explain to you like this. The chimpanzees and the humans, they have some bedroom fun, just for fun, for the pleasure. The same thing with dolphins. Yeah. Dogmen, they just mate when they need to conceive a new pup. They find intimacy of all kind, on all levels, very gross. Miss Misha asked Alpha one time, because that's why when he explained that, oh, gross, like a kid said, oh, hugs and kisses, no. And she said, do you want a hug? And he said, no. And then he explained to her that they only do it for a mating purpose.
Okay.
While Bigfoot probably, of course, they are ape. For some, they are a little bit more promiscuous and want to have some fun. You hear more about Bigfoot raping cows and horses. So that's the only answer I can give you on that subject.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was flipping through and it just popped out at me and I laughed. Now here's something. We had talked a little bit about demonic beings like Skinwalker, which you and I had both. We had a pretty decent conversation about this prior to everything as well. Skinwalkers are, and a lot of people get this wrong, or misinterpret it would be the best thing. Mm-hmm. A Skinwalker is Navajo black magic shaman who wears the cape or clothes or skin, of the animal it wants to become. And the transformation happens. It doesn't grow in size. It pretty much is, let's say that Native American shaman's 5'6" or 5'8", and he does his ceremony and puts this hide on. He will be this creature, but it will still be 5'6", 5'8", pure evil. Wendigo is Native American and is the embodiment of evil in the Great Spirit's eyes because it partook in cannibalism in family members. Now, people have, I'm going somewhere with this because we associate things that are evil with red eyes. And we hear dogmen and Bigfoot, sometimes Bigfoot having red eyes. Does Alpha have red eyes?
No. He has yellow eyes like the rest of them.
Okay.
The thing is that sometimes when they get mad, really mad, then the eyes change. They do the same thing as the Incredible Hulk, but the eyes getting red. But if you come across a dogman who has burning red eyes all the time, or you can sense it as a human probably that this is something else than just a so-called animal. So the ones who are demonic, they have their red eyes, but they have another glow from it, or the aura is not. Like I said,
so there's a possession of some sort, like a demonic dog,
yes.
Man. There's some sort.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I was going on that.
Demon manifest themselves as dogmen. Demon can manifest themselves as Bigfoot. Demon can manifest themselves pretty much whatever they like.
Okay.
A panda bear also if they want to.
Right.
That's why you see demonic people as well. They're like you say, they are of course humans, but in their eyes you can see some of their activity, and also like you said, exactly like you said, possession. You have everybody can just read and see some people are possessed for real.
Right.
And look upon the eyes.
Yep. Now
we don't have red eyes, but they get black.
Black eyes, yes. Alpha.
So yeah.
He most everybody that I know and that I've met through this channel, including yourself, are fascinated with learning more. And does Alpha, I'm assuming just by everything that you've stated, Alpha possesses a lot of knowledge about a lot of stuff, old history, this and that, but history of dogmen, the occasional history with humans and stuff like that.
Yes.
Does he?
He is on
I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
No. He is on a totally higher level than even other dogmen.
Right. How does he feel about?
He is one of, you can say, one of the enlightened one.
Right. Yeah.
That's why he's an alpha, the big alpha.
How does he feel about? Does he have any view? Like, I don't know the extent of conversations you've had with him, so that's why I'm asking. Have you sat down with him or Miss Misha, and she has shared this with you? But has anyone sat down with Alpha? And I mean, sure, he's shared with you the history, but has he shared anything about present day? What he thinks of present day, what may happen? Is he have any? He's enlightened. Does he have any kind of awareness of what may
come?
Yeah.
Yes. He has ongoing conversation with Miss Misha, and they more or less not talk daily like two buddies, but they are on that speaking term. And he has shared, of course, his concern for stuff, and he shared some other things that the same I said before, that they are shying away from the mankind but still protect us because we are destroying ourselves. We are not so great as we think we are. So they feel pity for us in one way, they want to help us, but they also look down on us because we make stupid mistakes. And then we can go into the religion. I saw that somebody asked about religion, and they don't have any religion because they are enlightened and they know what's real. Humans, we believe different things. We want to believe. We want to have a faith. They already know. because they come from somewhere else. So he is knowledgeable of more or less everything. Maybe he's not can look into the future.
So they have like a spiritual. Does he have a spirituality instead of like a religion? I mean, even like Native Americans, or I've read where actually I think it was Norway, Denmark, or maybe even Sweden. There was a guy who kind of reverted back to the old Viking days, and where he believed in like he would pray to different gods, like the god of the wind or whatever, almost like a Native American thing. But is there a sense of spirituality with the Dogmen?
No.
So there's nothing like that.
They don't believe. They know. That's the difference. And what they know, I have not talked to Miss Misha that much about, but she gives me information. And once I can start having conversation with Alpha, of course I can ask certain things, and it comes to my mind when I speak telepathically with him. But I'm just in the beginning of establishing a contact with him from my end. So that's the difference.
Right.
The wise Dogman, of course I can't speak for all of them. The wise Dogman, they don't have any beliefs because they know. They have the knowledge already. And it's very complex. It's very complex. And
it is.
It will take hours and hours to explain the thing that Miss Misha told me about the structure of universe and so on. And it's also, of course, a process for me to get all this kind of information as almost like you say, in quotation marks, like newborn.
Yeah.
I haven't had this all my life.
Yeah, I mean, no. You were just... How long has it been of your awareness with this? Like, obviously, with me and most people, we have an experience, and whether we see something or we learn something, and we just become enamored with what, like, there's people that have never had an experience with Dogman. Yeah. But they've heard a story, or they've heard something that really clicks with them.
Yes.
When was that for you, and what was that?
Like I stated before this interview, 15 years ago, I read about the LBL, and then I start changing from spirits, because I of course experienced spirits in different forms, and also demons. And then I lean my interest towards cryptozoology, because I know about the Yeti since I was a kid. Everybody read Tintin in Tibet here or in Europe, and then they were talking about the Yeti, and then I just checked out the Bigfoot, and they are in Washington State and the western part of Canada and the US, and it's snowballing from one thing to another. And like I said, I was very afraid of werewolves, you can say. So when I was a kid, I read about werewolves as well, the old lore from Northern Europe. So it has been with me for all the time, and it was a purpose. And I started to listen to the channels when they started to come out one by one, 2014, 2015. But of course, it clicked when I was start speaking with the Cloak Hedgehog, and then Miss Misha.
And that's how you met Misha. Miss Misha is through the Cloak Hedgehog.
No.
How did you meet her?
Forum.
If you don't mind me asking.
No, online forum.
Okay.
Groups. So the beauty of internet is that you come together, you exchange information, you get information, and the same thing there is a snowball effect. And some of them people, of course, they get obsessed with it, and that's not good at all. It doesn't matter if it's a religion or science or faith or whatever your interest. You should not get obsessed. You should look upon everything with critical eyes, and then you take your bits and pieces there and you bits and pieces there, and you lay your own small puzzle, and then you become more aware and enlightened if you are thinking about it. Not all of persons are able, I believe, to start thinking in a wider perspective for various reasons. It's not that they are stupid. They have maybe full time with the kids and the family, or you maybe are sick, or you have worries about the ordinary life, the economy, work. So it's up to each individual to do that journey. Some do, some don't.
Right.
And a good thing is that we spoke also before the interview that, like I said, about spirit animals.
Yes.
You guys who listen to this show, my only advice is to try to check out what you are. If you are the one or see everything from a perspective from outside at work or home, and you are the one who handle the reins or something like that. Maybe you are the eagle, for instance. Oh, what kind of personalities? Yeah, and also the different signs. The real ancient text about the different signs can lead you along the way. Not totally. The same thing there. You should not be obsessed with it.
Right.
But it is an indication of what we are, because we are spirits. The bodies are still our bodies.
I like that, what you just said, and I say that a lot, is when we hear something or talk to somebody, like you had said on that online forum, a lot of the things may not fit into your puzzle, but just take what fits into your puzzle and leave the rest. But don't forget that, because you might have to come back to that. And then, I don't think that you should, if you don't agree with something now, don't just disregard it as garbage, because maybe later you will come back to that and be like, now that makes more sense. And that was very, very, because I say it all the time. And I think that those are good words to live by. Take what fits into your puzzle now, but don't forget what doesn't.
Exactly. Because life is changing, and usually people get more and more humble the more open and the more knowledge they get.
Yeah.
Because you have a different understanding to other people and things around us. Like I said, the reality for me is reality, but I have also an extended reality where the Dogman is.
Yeah.
The Dogman are. The plural is. So it's plural. So the thing is that I have to live by my reality now. Work, income, pay rent, fuel up my car.
Yeah.
That's a reality.
Yeah. You can't be obsessed with constant. No. You have to have. There is.
I can't go to Alpha and say, hey, I need $200 because now the gas prices is fucking high.
Right.
So you have to put everything in perspective. And the thing is that for me, I can only speak for me, that I know from the very beginning that I was, my spirit animal is wolf, and I have a persona like human alpha. Not human alpha Dogman, but human alpha.
Right.
Since I was a kid. And like I told you, I show you the picture of me, and the funny thing is that it's really funny. People would think I'm crazy, but I aged very slow. Very slow.
Yeah.
I look upon 20 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
And the most fantastic thing here, after I've spoken to Miss Misha, which also aged very slow, my color of my eyes have changed. And then people think, I think he's a werewolf. No. The funny thing, the color of my eyes has been darker. And like I said to Jeff after the first interview, I only been angry, really angry, 4 times in my life. And one time, one guy hit a girl from behind. And it took 3 bouncers to try to get me off of him. I'm not the big dude. He was 6'3", 4, 2 meters, and I'm shorter. And then, of course, you get the super strength, with adrenaline when something happens to somebody that you love or like or care for, of course. But this was on a whole nother level. And that's why
Like your inner spirit animal came out.
Yes. And it can be so for everybody.
Yeah.
In a good way, of course, when you're defending. You hear about people lifting cars, when the kids get stuck under it, or your dad, or...
Yeah, that's a very good example. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
That's spot on, because there's something inside of all of us,
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be, and here's the thing here, it doesn't have to be a wolf, it could be something else, something that fits your persona, something that fits who you are. And I think by meditating and really sitting and really delving deep into yourself, you'll be able to find your spirit animal. And it might surprise you what it is, because you might be thinking, it might be some macho guy thinking, I'm a tiger or a lion or whatever. And through meditation, through speaking with other people and change, he may realize that his spirit animal is an owl, someone with wisdom or something like that, something completely different. And
so I am exactly like the Dogman in that way, that after the pup years or juvenile years, they age very slow, and they become 80 to 100 years old, 120 years old. So Alpha is now approximately, I don't know the exact age of him, it is approximately 60 to 65, he said.
Right.
So he has many years to come, definitely. And I'm humble. I'm very happy to have this kind of contact with something that for 5 years ago, I wouldn't believe myself.
Yeah, wouldn't imagine being able to.
No.
We're coming up on on my recording time.
Yeah.
We'll more than likely, John Phoenix and myself are going to do a second interview. Actually,
I have so much more.
Yeah. In the first interview, what we did, that was just a pre-interview, more or less, to just, see how people would react to you and the information you had to share. And a lot of people really liked it, and I enjoy it. I really have had a great time talking to you. Actually, before we did the interview, we were speaking an hour prior to the interview.
So, all for you who listen to this show, we're going to be doing different segments piece by piece, if Jeff wants, because I'm happy that he listened to me and give me this kind of platform.
Yeah.
Because we have so much things to cross off.
I've got
the list that I gave you.
I got an idea. And I love my subscribers, and I mean, this channel would be, that's why I thank them daily, because this channel is all of us. It's not my channel, it's our channel. And but there's times that I don't go into the comment section because of the others that go in there. And then I just, at that point, then I kind of get just upset and don't want to, there's been times that I've been in the comment section that I didn't want to do this channel anymore. But what I'm getting at is if anyone has any questions to ask John Phoenix, to ask Alpha, possibly, or Miss Misha, put it in the comment section. I'll look through the comment section. John Phoenix, I saw him in the comment section the other day. I'm sure he'll look through it. And if that's something that you're willing to do, I'll compile some questions as long as they are reasonable and not, strange or idiotic.
I have another idea that actually you and I just check through the questions, and then I'm going to gather it and see if it's actually already on the list, or I can just add it, because I have no problem answer each and every one of you.
Yeah.
But some of the listeners, they don't even go into the comment section on YouTube. They listen to this show on other platforms.
Yeah.
And I think that because I have 3 pages, Jeff knows about that. I have 3 pages with different kind of things that actually goes from A to Z.
Yeah. Well, if I had, okay, so here's something that's not on the page. And you may not know, or Miss Misha may not know, but it'd be a question for like Alpha, like a historical question of,
yes.
Does he know about the time, or has he heard about the times when supposedly a tribe of dogmen walked across the Bering Strait with a tribe of men? Was there ever an all-out kind of war between dogmen and men? And if so, when? And
yes.
How did that end? What was the conclusion of it, and stuff like that? That's what and if if that's something that you're interested in doing, and maybe like if there's a question that you can't answer that you could bring to Alpha to answer, would
yes.
he be willing to do that, or would you be willing to ask that question?
Actually, I asked Miss Misha about my performance, and I said, was he satisfied with it? And she said, yeah, because you spoke the truth.
Right.
And that's enough for me. So he was not upset or you get upset.
And there were certain things in that pre-interview that I took out because there were certain things that you couldn't share that we had talked
yes.
about, and you had given me permission to record it too. But I was like, there was
leave that one out, and we take it to the next interview, because I need to listen to what I say, because I was rambling on that much in the beginning.
All right.
I think.
No, when me and you were talking privately, and there was just certain, like, a couple of information that you couldn't share that I had taken out. But all in all, like, I mean, if there's any kind of information, like if there was an all-out human dogman war, I mean, obviously we know via the sheet of information that you sent me that in 1003 there was a falling apart. But was there ever some kind of, mini battles or whatever, because we throughout history and, the stories that we hear of, Greek and Roman times with creatures that don't exist now, but may have existed then. Was there these battles that ensued? So,
do you have another minute, or
we have about 5-10 minutes.
10 minutes more. Okay. I'm going to drop a bomb for you that in Roman time, and it was a little dude who actually formed a religion that actually know about this dogman, and they were actually present when he was crucified.
Really?
Yes. The dogmen were the ones who actually made crosses for the Romans as workers. But the humans who were crucified, of course, dragged their own crosses. But to humiliate Jesus, they made this cross very, very big and, of course, very, very heavy. So, one of the mercenaries carried the cross for Jesus, because of course he starved and he was weak, and he was coming for him, and they used the dogmen, of course, as guardians around the crosses to prevent people to come up and spit on Jesus and the other two, or other 5, or 15, I don't know how many actually will get crucified at the same time there. And also prevent those ones who was his disciples or believers to come and try to take him down. They were not humans who were guarding his grave. They were dogmen, mercenaries. And they knew that Jesus was a very, very important person for the humans. They didn't put any beliefs themselves in it. It was just a job.
Yeah.
For them.
They had no belief that Christ was the Son of God. They were doing a job.
Yes.
Right.
They know that was a part of the process. So they were actually in the really, really old books of the New Testament, they have actually taken away that they were dogmen who was standing guard there.
Right. Well, in here is a question that maybe you can share with Miss Misha back to Alpha.
Yes.
Just shared this information with us, but yet there's not through Roman Catholic, but from Orthodox Christians or Orthodox Catholics or whatever it is, we hear about St. Christopher. We hear about St. Christopher supposedly was a dog-headed man, or we hear that he worked with dog-headed men. There's a couple of different versions of that, but there is a painting that refers to St. Christopher as a dog-headed man. Could this possibly be an enlightened dogman or a intelligent dogman that instead of following the way of the dogmen back then, did he turn towards Christianity?
That's a very interesting. Of course, I'm going to forward that question to Miss Misha.
Because you hear so much, there's so much chatter about that picture. There's people that say, and then people state that, he worked with these dog-headed men, but yet the picture shows him as a dog-headed man. So could this be a dog man that through communication with humans, and because back then there was that communication because it was before 1003, maybe he converted and just chose to go on a path of Orthodox Christianity. That'd be a great question if you could ask her on that.
I can just add a couple of things. First, the Vatican knows about everything of this, and of course they keep it secret in the vault. The Great Fire of Alexandria is one of the greatest losses for humankind because there was so much information who got lost there.
Yep.
Some of the things, of course, get saved and they shipped straight off to the
Vatican.
Vaticans.
Yeah.
Yes, or the thing that actually was the Vatican back then.
We had a great talk about this too because it's.
And I can also state to everybody that Alpha he knows about everything, but there are some things that he doesn't share with us because we can't comprehend. He's not allowed to share with us, so don't get offended that maybe I don't have the right answers for everything that you write.
Right.
Or ask.
Here's my last question.
Yeah, sure.
My last question, because, and I'm not trying to debunk anything.
Nope.
Sorry. But Alpha, you had stated earlier that Alpha was the Alpha, and there is section or certain, 5 other alphas that can, but you just said that Alpha, there are things that Alpha is not allowed to share. Who is not allowing Alpha to not share these things? If he is the Alpha, that's...
Yeah. Because we should not we're not supposed to know everything that he does.
Say him.
Yeah, he said it. We are not supposed to, because some of the stuff that he knows and the other ones in this kind of council, they know is that we can't grasp some things. We change stuff probably, or we are not maybe trustworthy for them. I haven't asked in that way.
Yeah. Or we may
they have a skepticism towards us humans.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, somebody asked, how many people are in contact with Dogman? Well, less than 400.
Yeah.
In that way that Miss Misha and I am. And don't think for a second I was running around and thinking, I am the Dogman Whisperer. I am so much better than everybody else. No, I'm blessed in that way, in my opinion. And it is a constant evolution for me to grasp that I get to know stuff that some other people don't.
Right.
And that's not unique for me, because some of the enlightened people or the ones who are psychic and everything, they know a lot more things than I do.
Right.
Because this is supposed to be in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
This is my assignment. This is my mission. This is my task here on Earth to come forward with this information. And if people do believe it or don't believe it or think I'm just a liar, what can I do?
Yeah,
Nothing.
Exactly.
And
maybe that's why, and exactly what you said, maybe I answered my own question, is who control, but maybe the reason why he won't share X amount of knowledge with us is because humans nowadays, we don't know about these things. We don't acknowledge them because they are in hiding. Like if it was such a thing as what we are talking about, Dogman and human lived side by side, a lot of people can't even fathom that happening. So there is this information that Alpha has that, may be so strange to us that we wouldn't accept it anyway. And
yeah. And you have the other aspect. The Vatican knows about a lot of stuff that we're not allowed to know. The different government knows about stuff.
Yeah.
And it's power, money, control.
Yep.
And also about the religion, the faith. Imagine if an alien comes down and say, hey, you've been believing stuff that doesn't exist. It's just a make-up stuff. There will be chaos in one way. And if some religion falls, the other one also maybe falls, and there will be not anarchy, but you know what I get to. I will get to.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're the humankind. We're not allowed to know everything.
Yep. Yeah, it makes sense.
Because we are a lower race, and we still kill each other over territory, religion, food. even Michael Jordan sneakers.
Yeah, I was gonna say we kill even for less things than religion, food, and property. It's $3.
Yep.
People kill each other for a hit of crack, for God's sakes. It's yeah. Well,
so if you look upon from that aspect, it does make sense for everything. Yeah,
it does. John Phoenix, we are about on time right now, or out of time right now. I want to thank you for coming back.
Thank you very much.
It's an honor to have you back.
Thank you, and I apologize for those who think that we're just going to talk about Dogman, but there are also a reason why I and Jeff spoke about this one, so you can start to understand the alpha, the information that you get.
Yeah.
So everything has a purpose.
Yep.
Even though it become a little bit more philosophically, or what do you say? But I'm here. I'm still here, and I'm going to talk to Jeff, and I'm going to, of course, give you all guys information piece by piece, and in line or from A to Z, as you say in English.
Yeah. So if there is any questions that you guys have, put them in the comment section, and if they can be answered.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah,
no, if they can be
exactly.
answered,
No.
you'll answer them, and if
Mhm.
they can't be,
Yeah.
we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you will get the answer from most of the questions. And like I said, I'm not in charge here. The alpha is, and if he says no, then I have to respect it.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Cool.
it was
Perfect.
awesome. It was awesome having you back.
Awesome. Awesome, yes.
Do me a favor. Don't hang up. I want to talk to
No.
you for a couple minutes after. And
Yes.
thank you for coming back. Thank you. And please send thanks to Miss Misha, and the Alpha. We appreciate any kind of information that can be passed along as well. So have a
Thank you for
wonderful day. And no, thank you. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Yeah, thank you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, let's jump into part 2 with John Phoenix. All right, everybody. Today I have a special guest from Sweden, a kind of third upload with him, but it's pretty much the second interview where we have kind of a format to it. And everyone knows and really enjoyed that last video that John Phoenix and I did. John Phoenix, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for moving back. Yes, it's an honor.
It's great to have you back, and I appreciate that. And it's always nice to talk to you. You and I had been talking for 45 minutes prior to this, and it didn't even feel like it. It's
no. Great mind think alike.
Yes, sir.
You never know who you come across, on your path in life. That's really funny. Yeah, for you listeners, that I and Jeff connected immediately, and we've been talking off air for a couple of hours now.
Yeah,
Not
and it's
just today, but these 3 times that we've been spoken.
Yeah, and not just about Dogman, about everything else.
No.
We've gotten to really know each other, and I really I appreciate the information that you have shared with me about Dogman and everything else. So
yeah, it's been a good chat.
Yes,
both on air and off air. So it's really nice.
Definitely. Now, really quick, I just want to point something out. John Phoenix and I did go through the comment section. John Phoenix commented on a lot of people. Commented back on a lot of people. We're going to talk a little bit about those questions that were asked, and John Phoenix had a lot more time than I did to go through a lot of these, a lot of the comments. But really quick, I kind of want to emphasize on something. When John and I are talking, and it may seem like I'm cutting him off, I'm not cutting him off. We are having an interview, and that's kind of what John wanted. He didn't want where I just turn the mic over to him. He wanted to have kind of a formatted interview where I asked questions and he answered. So it's not like your normal interviews on this channel. And I'm only doing it because John Phoenix asked me to do it that way. So, John, but I'm going to turn the mic over to you for a few minutes just so you can
sure.
talk a little bit and get some information out.
Yeah. Yes, I will also state that I don't think that Jeff talked over me. It was vice versa, because I get so much information and have so much information that I get a little bit excited sometimes, and I actually talk over Jeff. So I hope all of you have, what do you say, understanding for it, because like Jeff said, that I asked for this kind of format because I have so much information and try to be structured on both my behalf and his behalf, so you guys have something good to listen to. That's why sometimes it's back and forth. Sometimes it doesn't matter, as long as the information goes out and you enjoy it, you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally okay with me.
Absolutely.
And most of you did, or are actually.
A lot of people.
Which I've seen it. Yeah, and I will thank everybody who actually commented in the sections and had questions. I'm not going to be able to answer all the questions today, so this is going to be an ongoing process, because after each and every episode there will be new questions.
Yeah.
So the list goes on and on and on. But I'm up for it as long as Jeff thinks it's okay. We continue.
Yeah,
on a regular
absolutely.
basis.
Absolutely.
So the first thing I would like to say is about a photo. It was not Jeff's fault. It was not my fault. But the setting of YouTube made this photo not the way it's supposed to look like in one way. So I have set up one Facebook account and put the pictures on that Facebook account.
Yeah, I'll share that link. The link will be in the description below of this video so you guys can see. I'm only allotted a small section, thumbnail small section. It's 9 by 16. So the picture is a lot bigger than that. I did see a lot of people. Yeah, I did see a lot of people made out the face though, and could see. I saw one lady say that the alpha had a different kind of structure to its face than most dogmen. Did you see that comment?
Yes, I saw that comment, but I'm looking at the picture now and from the YouTube, and the thing is that there are actually some foliage in front of his face, but you can see the ears and his eyes definitely, and you can see it then in the other picture, the original picture, from a distance. So everybody has to have in mind the reason why it's blurry. You're going to see the other picture that we took, just the picture of the bog, and that's clear as day. The reason why almost everything, pictures, videos, get a little bit blurry is because of the energy from these kind of creatures. The vibe, the energy, the electricity, you can say.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It does.
So even though you have a high-tech camera, probably is going to be a little bit grainy or blurry as well. So I saw that also that some people, well, not bashing, but they say, oh, you should do this and this and that. And I actually, or Miss Misha, got this question before, and Alpha answered with a smile, and he said, we are not circus animal. And the answer truth to that one is actually on his terms, of course, and their terms. That's why she asked to take the first and only picture of him, and he said, take a picture just to show that they were there. For me, because she knew it. She didn't see him as well, but she felt.
Right. Yeah.
So, you guys, you have to have that in consideration of all kind of pictures or clips that you see on the internet that you think are authentic. I mean, there's so many fake stuff out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always thought that too, that there is some sort of, there's always these grainy pictures or videos. And I've always felt like the reason why they are grainy, no matter what kind of camera or phone you are using, you could probably have a great phone and get a crappy picture. Like there was a photo that I took at the Conjuring house, and I have an S22 Ultra, which is one of the greatest camera phones out there right now. I had amazing photos of the whole house. And there's one photo, and I stopped to take all these photos. I wasn't on the move, but the camera phone actually has a correction to it where it'll stop the photo from moving and stuff, and try to autocorrect it. And there was something in that room when I took this photo that made the whole photo blurry. And it was really crazy. And that was because there's a vibration and energy there much greater than we as human beings are able to comprehend.
Yes.
So.
And the thing is that when they're standing, it was standing from a distance about 40 yards, and there were branches in the way. And like I said last time, there was one picture we were allowed to do. We were not allowed to treat them like circus animal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we're going to do a selfie with him. Like say, hey, smile, jeez.
Right.
Take one for the camera so we can put up on the internet because some people don't believe us. No. We have to pay respect to them. We have to respect their wishes. Otherwise, we will not be able to be in contact with them, because everything is based on loyalty with this pack, or actually my pack, or these kind of dogmen. Mm-hmm. Loyalty is everything.
Absolutely. Not even to just Dogman or any kind of whatever, no. Just loyalty.
Yes.
In general.
Yes, exactly.
Really quick.
So the thing is that, like I said, that I know how to kill them. I know what they get hurt from, and also I can add that one that I can't jeopardize the security and safety of the pack. That's why I never reveal where they are.
Right.
And also the same thing with Miss Misha and somebody else who get in contact with them, because that's betrayal, and betrayal is punished by death if the task force finds out and come and start hunting them. Like I said, minor errors, corrections, that's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You get slapped on the wrist, that's no problem. But the major thing is not to betray the trust.
Right.
The same goes for your friends and your families and everything, that if somebody betrays your trust, you get really, really mad. Maybe you don't kill them, but some people do as well. That's also something that you guys need to know. That's why I have to choose exactly the information he wants me to reveal to you.
Yeah. All right. Well, really quick, we kind of talked about the photo. I got a couple of my own questions. I know that you read through the questions, so you can go through that after. But there are a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you that just through our conversation, I know you wanted to address. So I'm just going to ask them first and foremost. The word handlers, you use the word handlers quite a bit, and it's confusing. So can you kind of clarify what you meant about the word handlers?
Yes. When I was chosen to be in contact with the Big Alpha, I also have to be proven to be accepted by the pack, which are in my vicinity. So they have a local Alpha Dogman here. Like I said, I've never been in contact with him like I have with Alpha. So I have to have two handlers to see that I was up for the task from the beginning, since I was a kid. The one thing I experienced when I was a kid, that was my handler or my guardian, because they pick and choose a lot of people, and then they see through the years who can maybe stand the task. And it gets fewer and fewer and fewer, and then they, reveal themselves to you. And then maybe if you get dead scared, or they can sense that if you are up to the task, if you can stand the heat, you can say in one way. So that's why I call them handlers. Because second time I met them, when I had this tingling feeling back on my neck, it was actually a couple of years ago, and I read about the Dogman. I didn't know about that they were supposed to show themselves to me, and I got this very tingling feeling back on my neck when I was at the rest stop somewhere in Sweden. And I just thought to myself, well, F this, I'm not going to take a leak here. I'm going to the next gas station instead. So they're testing you. They're also they have tested Miss Misha. I'm going to talk another time about the encounters and the beginning for her, the journey for her to actually be accepted, because like I said, they tested her as well. And of course you get dead scared, more or less, if something comes up in your face or you feel something. So it's not like a walk in the park and say, hey, John, we're going to pick him. Hey, come on, join the team.
Right.
Exactly the same thing as they do in different gangs. First, you are hang around, then you're a prospect, and then you full worthy member. So that's why I said handlers.
Okay.
And that's the way to go. Because they test your loyalty. They test your inner strength. They test everything. so they can.
It's all about protecting the pack.
Yes, and they can trust is everything. Loyalty and trust.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That really does. All right.
So I hope you guys are not confused anymore, because that's the key, the way to be accepted by the pack.
Okay.
And some other time I'm going to talk to you about Miss Misha's encounter with another pack.
Okay. All right.
And not all packs are friendly up here at all, but they still obey and respect Big Alpha. That's why I say I am under protection of Big Alpha, but I can not walk around in the woods and do whatever I like, because, hey, Big Alpha is protecting me.
Right.
Same thing with the different gangs. If you F up, major or small, then you have to pay consequences, which are different, depends on what you've done. So everything makes sense here.
Yeah, it does. It does. That actually brings me into my second question. You just said the Big Alpha, and we are referring to this Dogman as the Alpha. Well, that is a word that has meaning, which means, number one, the one on top.
Yeah.
Does he have a name? Is there a name associated with him? I mean, I'm assuming that he was born, and he wasn't born his name Alpha. That's
Yes.
That's his title, kind of, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The thing is that it's a good question, because I saw those in the comment section. Yes, they have names, but his name is very ancient and is very hard to pronounce for us, I and Miss Misha. So that's why we refer him as Big A or Big Alpha. She explained like this. Everybody just think about Game of Thrones and the different houses. And the different houses, they get the name in their world from the Alpha, who are in charge of the pack. And then they have a first name. So it is exactly like Game of Thrones. The house of whatever, I don't remember the name from the different houses there. So they have names, all of them have names. And they have a language, but they have a language telepathically, because they don't speak with the mouth, because they can't do it, because they are canines in that way. They can grunt, they can roar, and they can, of course, yapping and everything like that. They don't have a language as we do.
Okay.
In that way, because it's telepathic.
Did he ever explain to you, because you had said that the communication is done in English?
Yes, with me in English, yes, sir.
Did he ever explain to you why that is, even though your number one language is Swedish?
No, actually, I haven't asked him as well, but I think I have used English very natural since I was a kid in that way. So it just came up, and I also, when I read and when I write, also actually answer the questions and everything, it comes very natural to me. Mm-hmm. So that's why maybe he found out that, yeah, it's easier to communicate in English with John instead of maybe Swedish. Maybe they will come later on. I have no idea, but I think it's good, because I am fluently in English, even though I have a false accent sometimes here when I speak on your show. It sounds ridiculous sometimes. No,
you're fine. Believe me. Yeah, so there was the kind of two questions that I really wanted to touch on. The last thing before we get into the comment section questions that you went through, was there a chance to ask about the St. Christopher question that I asked at the end of the show?
Yes, sir. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into that one.
Okay. So we'll take, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about the subscriber questions in the comment section. And if we can touch on the St. Christopher thing at the end of the video, that's what we'll do. And if we can't, we'll just do it another time.
We do it another time, Jeff, because Miss Misha hasn't had a chance to speak with Big A on particular subject that much.
Okay.
She's very busy with her ordinary life.
Right.
So
right.
That's why we have to postpone this one to another show.
No need to explain it. It's understandable.
No.
People have lives. So you did go through the comment section. Obviously, John Phoenix has a job, and he's actually on vacation right now, so he's got some time to look at things and time to take advantage of things. And were there any questions that really jumped out at you that you really wanted to address right away?
No, actually not. There was some questions, actually more questions that I have to look deeper into, actually, because I've been really busy now. So I actually misunderstood Jeff. He said, talk to you tomorrow. And I thought, wasn't it Thursday we were supposed? And then, maybe he meant Friday, because Thursday was, maybe he's busy with something else and with his ordinary life. So actually I haven't been not so prepared as I was supposed to be, because I thought this one was supposed to be on tomorrow. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
So if you find questions or something like that, just fire away, Jeff.
Yeah.
I have some notes here, so I can go through them, but then it's going to be a little bit on and off on different topics. If it's okay with you,
whatever you want. Whatever you want. Whatever.
One question was about reptiles. What do you think? What do they think about the reptiles? And they are enemies because they're aliens. And reptiles actually did the same thing with Dogman as they do to some people here on Earth. That they abduct them and do experiments on them. You say on, yeah. And also do experience actually here also down on Earth. And they tried to extinct them. And this one was thousands of years ago. Because they don't want the word to be spread that they did such horrible things to the Dogman race. So that's why they are fighting the reptiles. Because the reptiles are, as well as some cryptids, enemies to the human race. Even though there maybe are some aliens that are good ones as well, but not very many.
Now, you had said that in the list of questions or list of information that you had given me, you had stated that the Dogmen, or the clans that live in Europe, closer to where you are, live in deep cave systems. But of course they sleep above ground when moving.
Yeah.
And in America, it's, even if you don't believe in cryptids or reptilians or whatever, it's pretty much known that that reptilians dwell under the ground. Is that another big reason? Like, is it just because they're mortal enemies and they are aliens, or is it because of occupation, space, and stuff like that?
Yeah, and also that they did what they did to the Dogman.
Okay. And
they never forget. They never forget. They're very vindictive, even to other cryptids or other species and everything.
Yeah. Now,
so that's why they are enemies in that way. And you have big cave systems all over the world, and especially in the US, and also up here, of course, because it's the Scandis. So that's why you never find bones. That's why you seldom see them. Of course, the major population, because they can hide and disclose very well.
Yeah. Was the because we,
or is that?
Pardon?
Did I misunderstood the question?
No, you were good. But you had said that what they did to the Dogman. Now, we have reptilian. There's like a a story or kind of a lore that when the reptilian came here from outer space or wherever they came from, they were in search of gold, and they actually had enslaved a lot of humans in the California region to mine gold. And that's kind of like why humans in general have a ingrained sense of gold being of value. You know, little kids even know that gold is a precious metal, and they don't even have to be told that. It's almost ingrained in our head. Were they slaves or something for the reptilians? Were they enslaved? I don't understand what they did.
I'm going to check that one up, because this was brand new short information from Miss Misha, and she said that Alpha just told her just a little bit, and she left the subject because she felt that was not something that he wanted to share with us yet.
Okay.
So she said, "Oh, I got this from him at the moment, but I didn't want to push the subject because I felt that was something that he was not maybe comfortable or allowed for us to know yet."
Okay. All right.
Maybe she's going to talk about it a little later on, but at that point she just left the subject.
Right. Right.
Because it's interesting, of course, because we are trying to lay the puzzle, of course. But like I said, sometimes we don't get the information, even though mainly she asks, due to various reasons.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, and like you said, there are certain things that can't be answered right now. But you said you had some sort of a sheet of stuff that you could talk about right now or something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
They have extra bone structure, and certain areas on the body are enforced like Kevlar, like a Kevlar armor.
Okay.
Especially, I'm not going to tell you guys where, but I can tell you two things: the chest plate, and it's soft but still hard. You can say just like a body armor of Kevlar underneath the skin, of course. And also they have a plate above their genitals, because otherwise rogue ones, they can actually bite down there in that region to bite the testicles off.
Right.
And that's when two alphas clash. It's not everybody, but still two alphas. Because it happens. They also get challenged. And Big Alpha said that the civilized ones, they don't do that cheap trick.
Right.
But like I said, the rogue ones or the more ferocious ones, they do. So they have an extra protection down just up beneath the belly, or the belly area, you can say, if you're talking in human terms.
Okay. Yeah, we had talked about that, and we had said, I had brought up the fact that species of monkeys, like chimpanzees, they will even if they're rogue or what, they almost, if there's something challenging in alpha, to rip off the genitals of a male is just a show of power. And I found that pretty interesting that it was designed that way to kind of protect almost. I've been looking at the comment section a little more too right now, and there's something that you and I talked about, and a person said that you are talking with, or they feel that because you are talking with a dog man, that you are talking to evil, and which is kind of strange if Dogman was brought here by a higher power. You want to elaborate on that little thing? Because you've elaborated on that for me, and we've spoken about it. Can you kind of share what you shared with me on that?
Yes, of course, and correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah.
The thing, they are not evil because they are here to protect us, the pure ones. Of course, there are evil ones from other planets who looks a little bit different from the ones that it actually is on the picture, like the big alpha and so on and so on. You know, all around the world, they have different variations of Dogmen, which are the ones who are protecting us. And if they are evil, then I wouldn't be standing here. Then I've been devoured on a bog outside Stockholm, for one thing. Or even killed when I was a kid or when I was a young boy.
Or in your home.
Or in my home, exactly. So that's rubbish, in my opinion. There are, of course, evil Dogmen, but they are the demonic ones.
Right.
So they are not evil in that way, but you should, of course, not challenge them. They can be very aggressive when you shoot at them. That's the least thing you should do, is actually aim at them. And then come back to the enforcement of the body, because sometimes people think that they hit a Dogman, but Alpha said usually they don't, because they get so scared. So they aim and shoot, and they think that they actually shot a Dogman or two. And sometimes, the impact, the same thing if you wear a body armor. If you have as a body armor of Kevlar and I'm standing in a couple of yards away and I fire me with a high power gun and high power bullet, you fall down of the impact. But it is the vest who takes the hit, not the body. The same thing with Dogman. If you have high power rifle and you shoot at them, and maybe they fall down, or in quotes, get unconscious or whatever.
Okay.
So he said that usually humans miss because they get so scared for all the right reasons. I mean, it's not every day you see a 10-foot werewolf standing a couple of saying that it's of course I understand those ones who shoot at them because you think you're in very life-threatening situations. So I don't look down upon them who do this towards Dogman. Of course not.
Right.
Because I wasn't there. I don't have these people's feelings. Of course, I would do the same. If you have a rifle, if you have a gun, and you see something coming at you, doesn't matter if it is a human or a ferocious dog or a lion or tiger, elephant, water buffalo, whatever. You protect yourself, and of course you shoot if you can. If there's nowhere else to go, you can say.
Yeah. I think
I totally understand them. I don't blame these persons, but he said that the absolute least thing you shall do, or the last thing you should do, is to shoot at them. Then you have a lot of happy, trigger people, and the reason why they are fighting with hunters, I mean, not the task force, hunters, is if you hunt them for sport, then they become very vindictive, and that's why some hunters die, because Dogmen protect themselves. Even though I said they are not evil or they are this and that, when shit hits the fan, they protect themselves and they kill or neutralize those ones who are hunting them. And they know that when they do, there are going to be consequences, because then the different forces or authorities, the secret agencies, black operations, then they come and search for them. But it's reverse, because if they feel threatened, they attack as well. They don't have any guns, but they have the body, the claws, and they're fast.
Yeah.
So it works both ways.
I really think that a big difference is that the dogmen in America seem to be a different breed of dogmen that are over there. Our dogmen here toy with human beings, have almost virtually no respect for them, and there's been attacks, obviously, on livestock and stuff like that. So I think that's why we view them as evil. And of course, with the red eye shine, anything that has red eye shine, we automatically assume that it's evil, because red and dark, you just, it kind of goes hand in hand with the devil. So I think that's a big difference than the dogmen in Europe to here. We don't have, quote unquote, the pure blood ones, which I don't understand what the difference of pure blood to non-pure blood dogmen is. If it's coming from you
like I said last time, you can actually compare it to settlers who came from Ireland, Great Britain, Scandinavia to America.
Right. So
it was a Wild West.
That's where they came from. They came from Sweden, Norway. That's where the dogmen originated from.
Yes, the civilized. Yes, they were civilized here, and they're still civilized, and that's why the latest trade in history was 1003.
Okay.
They have a fallout long before with other civilizations. So you can compare it to people coming, during the 17th century to America.
Right.
I've seen Yellowstone. Not Yellowstone. I've seen Billy the Kid, for instance. You're civilized in New York, for instance. You have the police, you have a task force, you have everything and everybody.
Well, I wouldn't call New York City civilized, but
no,
I'm just kidding.
Just to compare,
no, I know.
Just to compare that they have a civilization there, and then you go out, in the Midwest, and it's like a Wild West, because people are shooting each other over land, over some stuff, like argument.
Okay. All right. Now
so
I'm not
look upon it like that.
With this next question, I'm asking a question because I'm curious and I want to know. I'm not targeting you, so please don't think I'm targeting you. But you said that they originated from Sweden, Norway area, but in 1003 is when the kind of fall with humanity stopped. But if they originated from that area, why thousands of years before that time were there dog-headed humans spotted in Egypt, India, and stuff like that? I mean,
yes,
that's kind of confusing.
Yeah, they originated the civilization here, the pure ones. They originated from here, and that was thousands of years. And the dog-headed people down there, they are a little bit different. They're looking like Anubis. It's not the same species, you can say, per se. So there are variations, and those ones who were in Egypt, they actually didn't come from the same place as the so-called pure ones up here.
Okay.
Because they have different ears. If they are similar, like you have in USA and Scandinavia and maybe Russia, they're a little bit different. They're the East European dogmen, apart from maybe those ones down south in Europe and also America, and South America is a whole another ball game. So you can look upon the races as actually the human races.
Right.
Some are dark skinned, some are white, some are pale, some are oriental. And there are 7 different species, and they are coming, like I said, they're coming from different places, but they have the same purpose here.
Okay.
And like we talked about before, the ones who are the locomotive for them, they were situated up here, and still are, of course, here in Scandinavia. That's why the last fallout so far was with the Vikings. the fallout with the ones down the Mediterranean and Middle East, that was way before. Because of, like I told all of you, that they didn't get paid. And those civilizations down there, they thought that they were superior to mankind.
Okay.
So that's why the fallout was way before in other part of the world than up here. It's isolated up here in one way.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Always been isolated part of the world. Scandinavia, I look it up, and I can say Sweden is not Switzerland. So don't confuse it with Switzerland. Switzerland is below Germany. So if anybody want to check out the European map, just do it, please, because then you maybe see what I'm talking about, because maybe you have to fresh up your memories.
Yeah.
Not everybody walks around with the map in their head.
Right. And a lot of Americans don't realize, we may know the land geography of America because, we don't really go to Europe too often. So, not many people are familiar with where Sweden is. It's kind of landlocked. It's between
it's a peninsula.
Norway
and it's a huge peninsula.
Yeah. I've got a good question from a subscriber, and
yes,
it's a very good question. There's a lot. Actually, it's multiple questions, but I'm just going to read it really quick, and I think you can touch on it because I can almost touch on a couple parts of it, but I want to know, if possible, to make an attempt to make peace with these dogmen. I don't agree with any entity being mistreated. I have love for all life. I do not wish to have controversy with anyone, if possible. Can this be achieved? Also, why has their existence been hidden from us? Why would the Vatican do this? What purpose does all of this being hidden serve? Definitely, what can be done about the aggression of some of these dogmen attacking and devouring human? Or is it truly dogmen? Could it be demonic spirits instead? Just off the top, I think this person's referring to the Americanized dogmen as a whole different, thing. We had talked about the Vatican privately as well. And I don't know if that's something that you want to touch on.
Other people, sorry, not to talk over you. Some other people on different channels has already touched the subject accurate. The reason why they don't reveal the cryptids, it's, of course, money and income. It's about the logging industry. It's about the tourism. It's about, wildlife, where people go out in the recreations area or nature reserve. It's billions of dollars will get lost if they reveal, oh, by the way, you have a couple of werewolves running around here. And the reason why they are aggressive is territorial. Mainly, they get pushed away from their territory, and expansion of new areas for the humans. That's why they get very aggressive. And they can have a blood feud with some people for generations. Like the siege of Lockett Ranch-ish. And the reason why they get so aggressive and they are vindictive in generations is because they don't know if the next generation or their generation after that one will come and hunt them down. And in the beginning, it was actually the Dogman's fault because they were territorial and aggressive. Of course, they maybe get shot at. But then it changed into that they have to back away and they want to regain their territory, and they got hunted down fired at. So that's why you may have in certain areas feuds that are lasting for generations. And of course, nobody backed down.
Yeah. I'm looking for a question.
The reason why authorities also don't want to reveal the existence of them is because everything comes to its peak of, like I said last time, religion, power, and money. They can't reveal stuff for us because then it would be some, not anarchy, like I said, it's not anarchy, but chaos. So many people need to have a faith. They want to have a faith. They believe in a faith. And when things are not there, when things are reality and you reveal this information, then some people deny it, some people take it under consideration, but your whole picture is changing forever.
Right.
When you get new information that you believe in. So that's why the different major religions, they want to keep, of course, the people who believe in them because of power, because of money. The Vatican is the most powerful and has the greatest resources for thousands of years. That's why they have the vault. That's why they were so furious with Dan Brown's the Da Vinci Code, for instance.
Yeah, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to comment on really quick too is the questions, and I know you were very excited about this, but I'm gonna ask. I'm going through the questions in the comment section, and they're questions that you answered to each person. Now, I kind of what I wanted to do is just get a list of questions and then ask the questions aloud and have you answer them. That way, because you had answered, like, one person would ask a question and you'd answer that question, but not everybody could hear that answer or see that answer. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go through. There's a couple of good ones that I just found, and it's how do the alphas from different continents travel to meet?
Yeah, the Vatican, they send a plane and they meet up in Washington, D.C. No, I'm just kidding. They go into other dimension and meet up physically. Like I said, picture a corridor. You have lots of doors. You open up one and you close the other one. So that's why they meet in person.
And they're not meeting on Earth. Are they meeting in a different?
They're meeting in a different dimension, but they also can meet here on Earth. But they don't do that often. They don't want to use that kind of ability that much, because they have also some rules and regulation how to use their power. So that's why it's easier to step into another dimension and meet over there. And also, of course, it's for security reasons, he said now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you've got different alphas on different continents. How would they travel and not be seen? Just pop in and you're somewhere else meeting with the other equals. Yes,
because not everybody are friends with everybody within that community as well. There are always someone striving for power, like humans. So there have been altercations now as we speak up here in Sweden and Norway, Alpha said. And they have some problems, major ones and smaller ones, with young upcomers who want to actually, they do some kind of mutiny. And they failed, and it was some of them who got executed, and some of them got, they was chased away from the pack, so they became the rogue ones.
Okay.
You say expelled, right?
Kind of like
Expelled is the right word.
excommunicated or expelled. Yeah.
Yeah, expelled from the pack. And those ones are the ones who are forming maybe a new pack.
Okay.
And that kind of pack are the ones who attacks the cattle. And if you're alone, you become crazy.
Yeah.
So you have a case now up in Norway that one hunter, she said, I can't understand. There are so many elk who get killed and they only eat the soft tissues. But wolves don't do that, one wolf pack. And I said to her, it's not wolves. They are not wolves who do that. But then I didn't tell her the things I know.
Right. Right.
So we made a clash here, he said, just recently. So that's why they also need security, the ones. They have to watch over the back, on and off, of course. The same thing, as I said, the same thing in a gang. Someone or somebody, they want to overthrow the power. And then we can jump into the question of why it's only the alpha couple who mates. That's also for security reasons. The other one can mate, of course, if they're younger ones, but then they have to leave the pack. Because otherwise, it can be a threat. Look upon the courts. Look upon all the fights within the court. You can see, Game of Thrones is also a good example, but in reality, that you have a half-brother who are envy and want to become the king. And then he and his wife maybe have 4 sons, and you have only 2 sons, and they kill each other. Like, this has gone on for mankind forever, since Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel. Yeah, sorry, I pronounced it wrong.
You're fine. You don't need to apologize.
I always do when I speak like a dork.
No, you're fine.
I have high standards, Jeff. So it sounds more Swedish than actually it sounds in reality. When we meet, you're going to see that I speak better than it sounds through the phone.
Well, like I said, I mean, your English is good. You know, you have very good English, and you have a very good understanding of the language. So you don't have to apologize. Believe me.
No,
I think the guests or the audience don't think that you have bad English either. I mean, for someone from Sweden, you certainly speak well.
Thank you. And the thing is that when I talk to Jeff off air, it's so much easier because then it becomes a flow. But now I have to think first and form the sentence in my head before I speak out. That's why there's a little bit delay. That's why a little bit and and eh. Anyway, so that's why there are only the alpha couple who mates. So nobody can come and put a knife in your back when you're an alpha. So the beta couple should be loyal, of course. They are loyal, supposed to be loyal because the family, they are, the beta couple, the beta female, of course she's not inbred, she's from another pack.
Right.
So there will be no inbreeding, but they have to be loyal, of course. The prince and the princess have to be loyal and swear to the king. Same thing. It is logical when you explain it like that.
Yeah. Now here's a speaking of language. Do
Yes,
they have their own language?
Yes, sir. They have.
Okay. And
I can't speak for all the different species because some of them are, in quotation marks, lower race of dogmen.
Right. That was going to be my next question. Would the alpha, obviously the 7 alphas or whatever, all have to have the same kind of language because they communicate, they meet up and communicate. Yeah. But would like let's say a small pack of dogmen from Sweden met up with a small pack of dogmen over in, I don't know, the tail side of Russia over in Siberia, would their language be similar?
Yes, because they speak telepathically and they are in connection with each other. Not maybe all, they're like Omega, but still though, the leader of the pack, they are in constant contact with each other. If needed, if they want to. They can, of course, switch off like a radio. It's not that they are going around, oh, yeah, I wonder what Bill does today, or... And the alphas, the big alphas, they can communicate with each and every dogman on Earth. Okay. And also with each other, like switching out a shortwave radio, longwave radio, like, hey. But, you know, they are keeping themselves to their own areas. But if needed, they can communicate.
Understandable.
Yeah.
We, like you said too, you I guess we both kind of misunderstood the days and stuff. We're about an hour in, and there are some questions that you had seen that you needed to ask and wait for an answer from Miss Misha and Alpha. Yes. So we can always do another show in the future. I know you've got still some time left before you got to get back to work. So
imagine it's almost being 1 hour on air. It's incredible.
Yeah. So why don't we call it a day, and that we'll wait a couple of days. I'm gonna go through some other questions too, and even the ones that you've answered, because like I said, the people that you answered, only they know the answer, and unless the people went through the comment section. So I'll go through and write down the questions, but then we'll wait for a couple of days for the questions that really had to that you'd get from Alpha or Miss Misha.
Yeah. How many minutes do we still have on this segment?
We got some time. We got some time. Share away with whatever you want to share, my friend.
Yes. Now I'm going to jump to different subjects.
Yeah.
Dogman and also Bigfoot, they see infrared light miles away. So that's the point of getting a game cam or trail cam, because that's why they rip them down, because they spotted them miles away. It's like, during war, you don't lit a cigarette in the middle of the night. Same thing here.
Yeah, that's just like in World War I and II. You'd use a match to light all your buddies' cigarettes, so there wasn't two matches, lighting.
Yep. And they respect electricity for two reasons. They've seen fallen wires killing some of or one or more in the pack. And also, this kind of knowledge is, of course, handing down to the young ones. Like, they do in the animal kingdom. If you say they're not animals, but you can understand what I'm thinking of. And also the high-power rifles from the Force. They have great power in this kind of weapons. So it's based on some sort of electricity. So that's why it's almost like a science fiction when they kill a dogman that way. Like Stargate Atlantis, or I haven't seen Star Trek, but the same thing with the Star Wars. I've seen Star Wars, the first 3 movies at least. So that's why they have great respect for electricity.
Okay.
And they want to stay out of the light, of course. I heard that people are getting harassed. They have put up some really big floodlights, and that's a very effective way to keep them off coming knocking on the doors.
Yeah.
And also some reports that they have people have encounters close to the railroads. And that's a very good reason, or logical reason, because a train, they hit whatever comes in their way. So, easy food. Of course. If they hit deers, some other animals, then they become scavengers, and of course it's very easy for them. They don't have to run and chase deer. If the train kills a couple of deer, so a herd of deers was standing on the track.
Mm-hmm.
Free meal, easy meal.
Yeah. They don't have to waste the energy to go and hunt.
No, exactly. They play smart.
Yep.
If somebody had me a Big Mac when I'm going out for lunch, thank you so very much, and I go back and work a little bit later on. I don't have to stand in line.
Right.
They switch easily between bipedal and quadruped. Very easy.
Okay.
And it's true that they pop the joints, so people who heard this popping noise sound, it's accurate. They look upon werewolves, like I said before, as abominations, because werewolves have more human legs, and that's dabbing with black magic. So they just kill them. They see them as an enemy, as an abomination. Those kinds of beings. Sorry, I'm just gonna cross off.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah. And the structure between alpha was somebody who asked. And I think I answered that one within this answer about the pack and why the alphas don't allow other couples to mate. In the structure between alphas, of course, they get challenged by some, and some are very loyal. Some working together if they have different territories but close to each other, and some become some sort of rivalry. And that's why when it happens, big alpha step in and say, "Hey, enough." Just like a gang, like a gang. Do you have any more questions there while I scan it through?
I'm looking
my
through
notes
right now as you go. I've got one. I was looking through the comments, and I had purposely put an upload up this morning to kind of be a, I guess, starter point. And
yeah,
and someone actually asked the question, and I wasn't aware of it, with the angel protecting people in America, Brad in America, and he had called it a hellhound. And you had commented on that question as well. Now, is Alpha aware that there are angelic beings hunting hellhounds out there, and how does he feel about that, if he knows? Or has he not had that opportunity to ask?
Yes. He is aware of everything. So he is aware about those stuff as well. And because they are put here on Earth to protect us, they're of course happy to have assistance from angelic beings. And the hellhounds, they are demonic. They come from another place, come from another source. That's why, of course, all assistants are looked upon as, thank you very much, then we don't have to do the dirty job.
Right.
So they are aware.
Okay.
Maybe they don't cooperate with the angels and other good things around us that actually protect us in that way, because they are, like I said, they are on their own in that way. They have their own task. It's not that Bigfoot and Dogman are working together, actively, but they do it on their own part. Like I said, with the crawlers on the rake, they know that the other ones are also killing them, and the same thing there. Oh, thank you. Then we don't need to do it. It's your shift now. We go over here and eat some reindeer, some moose, or some deer. We're taking a lunch break now, so that's good. And now I just realized what I was supposed to say, guys. In Maryland, you have Goatman, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of there's a hot spot for Goatman in Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the reason why he is roaming around that much is, have you heard about a lot of encounters or attacks from Dogman in Maryland? I haven't heard about almost any case, and I've been, scanning internet for years and years and years and listened to all the channels.
Yeah, I can say a handful, if that.
Yeah. So I have to ask Big Alpha about that one because I'm curious about the answer myself. I know that down in Texas is also the Goatman Bridge, the Goatman Bridge. But I was actually thinking about, Maryland. No, I haven't heard that much. Also, Montana is also another ball game. And the reason why a Goatman can roam around as he or them can do is probably there's not many Dogmen around. Because it's their past.
I can answer that right now. I have a file of subscriber, because when a subscriber will send me their encounter, I had to put my headphones back on because I just ran over to my filing cabinet. When a subscriber sends me their encounter, and I will print it out and I file it state by state. I just grabbed my Maryland folder, and there are 4 encounters out of Maryland. If I grabbed any other state, there's at least 10. So Maryland is not, like you said, hotspot for Goatmen. Goatmen has, if you look up Maryland and type it in, Goatman. And I'm curious about that Goatman Bridge. I think that the one in Texas, that more or less, I think, is just a name for it. I think there's a demonic entity that is seen that is mistaken for a goat because of so much tragedy. I know that if that bridge, when you're on that bridge and you take it to behind off the road, there's a full-sized Ouija board painted on concrete behind that bridge. And it's about 20 feet by 20 feet. It's just gigantic. And people try to summon things there. So I don't think it's a physical
cryptid.
Yeah, I think it's a manifestation that is spotted in Texas.
Yeah, then you also have the aspect you can have manifestation or there actually are demons who pose as Goatmen, and then you have Goatmen as a cryptid, which actually are not a part, but they are demonic, but they are flesh and blood-ish in that way. So that's also an interesting aspect of it. Definitely. I can just see here now, from one thing to another, that Lore Fincher, I don't know if it's Lore is a he or a she, but because I haven't come over the name Lore, is it a
it's
female
a she,
name or
it's a she,
male?
it's a female.
It's a she, yeah. She wrote that her comments were gone, and I've also seen that one, that some of the comments are disappearing. And she asked me about a transcription on those questions and answers, and I said I don't have the time to sit down and send it to each and every of the listeners who want it. Yeah. But she had a good reason why she asked for it. So, Lore, if you hear me, check my email and send me an email, and I will help you as far as I can, because this is within my task also to help you guys as much as I can with certain things as that, if you have a good reason for it.
Unfortunately, YouTube comments, like, people are subscribed and unsubscribed to the channel by YouTube and the algorithm and stuff like that, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, why some comments disappear and don't disappear. It's strange. I was looking for a comment earlier that I had seen and couldn't find it because it was actually a good question. For some reason, YouTube, I don't know if it's multiple or if there's multiple kind of comments from a same subscriber in one comment section, that it'll just limit it down.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah.
So I just say to all of you guys who's listening, please don't send me email just like that, because I don't have the time.
Well, your email's not available to share right now, so that nobody can.
No, that's good, because this is a special thing, special not occasion, but she had a good reasons to ask me that question, and because you had also a lot of questions. And please, if you have questions, just put them in the comment section, because I scan through it and Jeff scans through it. It will take a little bit of time to answer all of them, and like I said, I gather them and see if they are actually same questions. So maybe you personally don't get an answer from me, but you will get an answer because maybe you are 4, 5, 6 people who ask the same question.
Right. Yeah.
So no offense, folks. Don't take offense that I don't answer with a long answer. Just comment and say thank you, just to show, and a thumbs up to show that I've read it. And like I said, I appreciate all the questions, and I was raised good, so that's why you say please and thank you to everything, and you are respectful. As long as you're respectful to me and Jeff, no problem. And if you disagree, no problem at all. It's a matter of opinion. And if you can add something to it that I haven't thought of, or actually should ask Big Alpha about, or Miss Misha, no problem. I don't take offense about that one.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, we had talked about that earlier. And,
You just fire away, people. It's no problem.
Absolutely. All right, we are coming up on time. I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day today. Why don't we, what we can do is, how about in a couple of days, I'll touch bases with you, and
yes.
We'll I'll write down a bunch of questions that I'm scanning through. You can, and if you have time to ask Miss Misha or Alpha, or have time to do a follow-up show, we can do that. But I want to make sure that we have a lot of the questions that you can't answer on your own, that you had to ask Alpha or Miss Misha, and give them time to answer it as well. So
thank you.
We can do maybe a follow-up in a week or so. No rush, because it's on their time, not ours, and not mine.
Exactly.
So, but it's always...
Sorry to interrupt.
No, what were you going to say?
Yeah, while I'm waiting for answers, while I gather all the questions, I can also do a show with the encounters that I have and Miss Misha. I can tell you the story if I'm allowed to, but I think I am.
Yeah.
How it started for her. And then we have crossed out that one off the list, because now I have an empty list on my hand. I know that I've sent you 2 more pages, but my immediate list here is crossed off, and that's why I'm now have the time to go through the questions.
Okay.
More, because this was the basic information that I was supposed to give out to you guys who listen, and also of course to Jeff.
Yeah.
So they will be smoother and smoother the more time, or the more times we answer questions and have a show.
Yep. All right. That sounds good. So we can.
Perfect.
I'll touch bases with you in a couple of days and see if you're free for that encounter. And then, whenever the questions that pertain to Alpha or Miss Misha, we can wait on those, and respectfully wait on those until they have time to answer them. So that would be perfect. And I apologize if somebody take offense that I wasn't prepared today, but I actually misunderstood Jeff, because we were chatting away. Local time, it was midnight, and you say talk to you tomorrow, and for me it was 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Right.
So that's why I wasn't that prepared. I was supposed to. My intentions was to be more prepared. Yeah.
Well, is there anything that you'd like to say to end this video, wrap it up with?
No, everything's good, and I'm looking forward to all the questions that you have, and also to answer the ones that you already wrote to me.
Yeah. Yep. All right, my friend. Well, don't hang up, because I want to talk to you for a few minutes after. It's always a pleasure having you on.
Always a pleasure for me to come out on your platform. Thank you very much, Jeff.
And thank Miss Misha and Alpha for
Yes.
allowing us to hear this information and let them know that I appreciate it and that all of the people that are commenting appreciate it as well.
Yeah, I can tell you for sure before we hang up is that Miss Misha has been so busy with her ordinary life that she hasn't had the chance to even listen to the 2 first segments. That's so as busy as she can be. That's why I haven't talked to her in that way. But she's gonna also comment and correct me if I'm wrong, or also add some information that I don't know. It's not maybe. I don't know.
Right.
So
all right, my
that
friend.
would be perfect future. Yeah, perfect, my friend.
I'm looking
Talk to you
forward
later.
to the next upload with the encounters. So I will
Great.
I
Me
will
too.
talk to you soon. All right, don't hang up.
Yep.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.
And that was part 2 of our interviews. This is part 3 and the final interview I had done with John. And like I said in the intro, there was a preliminary interview. I didn't want to make that part 1 of the series of interviews that we had done together, because it was just kind of like a meet and greet between John, myself, and I did share it with you guys. But these 3 were where he got to the real nitty gritty of everything. So this is part 3, the final interview. All right, everybody. I have a special guest today. I want to welcome back John Phoenix. John Phoenix, how are you today?
Great, Jeff. We had a great talk before
Yes,
this
we did.
recording. Yeah. Good. Always good to talk to you, man.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. Today we're going to do a little different stuff. I know that you and I had talked about sharing your experiences and encounters. Also, Miss Misha's encounter that you said you wanted to share. But I kind of want to touch on something really quick. And John and I were just talking. And you were drained after the last couple of uploads. This will be the fourth upload that we've done. The kind of first one was just kind of a test run, and then the 2, and a lot of the Q&A that we were going to do, you had gotten very excited and went into the comment section and chose to answer all of the questions instead of kind of compiling them and answering them online. And it really took a lot out of you, and you answered questions that, you tried to answer questions that you would sit and think about that actually could be answered on their own. If someone had just sat down and listened to this program or to the other programs that we had done, the answers were right there. You had said to me, "You're not the Dogman Whisperer."
No.
And, you have the information that you're sharing with us is the information you're going to share. There's information that you can share and information you can't share. What you can share is what you're going to share. You're going to try to share it all. And the questions that are asked are answered in the uploads. There are some that may not be, and that we'll look through. But it really tired you out, and you wanted to make sure people knew that you weren't the Dogman Whisperer. You were given a task, and it was your task to share the information that you could share, that you knew. And of course, there's information you can't share, but there's information that you have the ability to share, and you're going to, you said it the first time, I'm going to share what I can, and what I can't, I got to keep to myself.
Exactly, because Big Alpha, he doesn't share everything with me, of course, and also Miss Misha, because we're not allowed to know everything about everything that he does.
Right.
For all the right reasons, because we can't comprehend some stuff, and we're not, even though he knows about the future, the near future, the close future, why should we as humans know about the things that happens that he does?
Yeah.
We are not allowed to do that one, because then we don't take the active part of it. If you know something and you act on it because you know something will happen in the future, then you don't maybe act right.
Yeah.
And then it's become a hazard. So that's why I'm very grateful, of course, to everybody who asking me the questions, and I really appreciate your engagement of doing that one. But some questions are very repetitive from some people who hasn't, like Jeff said, who hasn't listened thoroughly to this first segment. And like Jeff said, I'm not the Dogman Whisperer. I'm not claiming to be the Dogman Whisperer. I'm just a vessel between Big Alpha and us humans of the information that he wants to share with us.
Yeah. You know what you know. You know what you know,
exactly.
And you're going to share what you can. And here's another thing. And I'm not speaking for Alpha. I'm going to speak on what you and I had talked about. Alpha himself is a vessel. Alpha does not know all. Alpha knows what he has been granted by the all-powerful, the one creator. And
yes, sir.
He's a vessel, and there are things that he knows that he can share and things that he cannot share. And then there's things that he doesn't know because he's not the all-powerful. He is just a vessel. I kind of want, you're going to share encounters today, your encounters and Miss Misha's encounter, but I wanted to touch on one thing before we got into it. And it's a comment that really I saw, and I saw multiple, and we're not in any way critiquing anyone, because questions are how we learn. But listening to is how we learn. And if you have to listen to this upload 2 times to really hear it, then do so. If you don't, then don't. Like, I've read books multiple times just to get it. There's a question or kind of a statement, and multiple people have made that said, why can't we live in harmony with these cryptids, these good cryptids, or I'm looking forward to living in harmony with these good cryptids? And the answer is simple: we never will. They're no animal, and that's what humans are, live in perfect harmony with any other animal. We, as humans, use other animals as tools or as food, and unfortunately, as humans, we would extort these other cryptids, and they know that because of the centuries prior to. So I don't know if that's pretty much what you agree with, but I think that's what I got from talking with you. The mic's yours if you want to touch a little more on that.
Well, I'm totally agree with you, Jeff. The reason why we can't live in harmony is because they look down on us, because we are so, you can say, primitive, still are, as different races and different religions. We are still primitive. Because we fight, like we talked about in the last segment, we are fighting for some petty stuff.
Yeah.
My God is greater than your God, and my money is more worth than your money, and my territory is bigger than yours, or mine is smaller, so that's why I'm going to chase you off your territory.
Right.
And as long as we are that pitiful, the other ones, just like I said in the first segments, they look down on us like we are a ghetto. And everybody needs to know that here on Earth, I'm going to state it once again, here on Earth, it is a battlefield in the universe between good and evil. Right off the bat.
Yeah.
All around you. You don't have to be believing in supernatural stuff. Just look upon 2 neighborhoods, 2 blocks in LA, or 2 blocks over here in Stockholm as well, or anywhere in the world where you have different ethnicities and different cultures, and they are at war.
There's always conflict. There's always been conflict, since human existence.
They don't know time. It's always been conflict. And I don't say that everybody's bad, but you stand up for yourself, of course.
Right.
When you get attacked, you stand up for yourself, and then it creates a conflict instead of, I'm not saying everybody's going to live in harmony and kumbaya. Never going to happen.
Right.
Never going to happen.
I laughed because kumbaya is a thing that we sing over in Boy Scouts in America, and I think it's funny that a guy from Sweden knows the kumbaya. Conflict has been going on since the dawn of time. There's a book that I love, and it's the Neanderthal, modern human predation, this and that, them and us, and it was written by a gentleman named, his last name's Van Drimini, and he had stated that the reason why humans are how we are and how we have this instinctual fear of the dark and this and that is because we've always been in conflict. We were in conflict with Neanderthal. We almost got wiped out, but what did we do? We became stronger and better warriors and eventually wiped them out. It's just been an ongoing human thing. That's what humans do, unfortunately. That's what we are. We are conflict creators, and conflict follows us wherever we go, unfortunately. No matter what.
That's the way, exactly like you say, it's been since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
That we are in conflict with each other, with other so-called packs or so-called clans or some other village or whatever.
I'm going to hit pause really quick because your headphone is that we're getting that clicking again.
Static.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hang on 1 second, everyone.
Change my...
All right, guys, we got that fixed. So there's always been conflict, and there's just things that as human beings we are not meant to know, and there's things that right now John can't share with us because he doesn't know, or he cannot by Alpha. So all of the questions are answered pretty much in all of these uploads. And if there is, we're not saying don't ask questions in the comment section. That's not what we're saying. But before asking the question, listen to the upload again, and then or think about the question, because I saw a couple that were self-explanatory. With that, I think we pretty much touched on what you and I wanted to touch on.
I'm just going to state that I'm going to take a hiatus after been talking to Jeff now for some more episodes to answer all your questions. You can still ask the questions, but I'm going to gather it. I'm going to come back with if I have more information.
Right.
Because once I have answered all the questions, I'm pretty much done so far.
Right.
And I'm just going to also inflict that if you want to see the picture of Alpha, you have to go to the Facebook page. We can't write Facebook on YouTube for some reason.
Yeah, we tried and it just won't work.
Yeah, we tried so many times, and I wrote to individuals as well, and it got erased. So my name on Facebook is John Phoenix North. if you type that in the bar, you come to my page, you scroll down, and you see the pictures very clear.
Right.
And what I've been talking about in the previous segments.
And the ones are, I just want to touch basis on one thing, so there is not any confusion, because there sometimes confusion happens. There's the picture of the alpha is in the woods where he's standing. There's the whole picture is there. I was only granted 9:16. There's also a picture John put in there that he had created to kind of mimic what alpha would look like. And I don't want people to think that that's the real picture of alpha. The real picture of alpha that we're talking about is the one that 9:16 that was on the video that we did, but the full picture where you can see the top or the bottom of the woods to the top of the woods. I just wanted to clarify that so some people, wouldn't see that one picture and be like, that's not what that, and then ridicule would happen. So
exactly, because like I said in the previous segment, that we took the picture 40 yards away, and then you see loud and clear, you can say, that you see Alpha standing there 10 feet 4 inches tall. And the other picture, the close-up picture, is actually my dog. And the picture is so resemblance of these kind of Dogman, the so-called pure ones. Definitely a spitting image of how Alpha looks like, but of course 4 or 5 times bigger.
Right.
So that's why I put the picture of my dog in this homepage or the page.
Right.
So don't think that this close-up picture is the Alpha. No. And I actually stated that one in the text, of course, so it would be no confusion.
Right. Right. Well, I just wanted to touch on that, so just in case people didn't read it.
Yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah. Yes. Now it's time for the encounters, I think.
Yeah. So how old were you when you had your first encounter?
I'm going to be repetitive here because some of you listeners maybe hasn't listened to the first segment. I was 5 years old. I live out on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
We had a farm in Sweden, and there were no animals on our farm. But it was a farm with a barn and everything. And back in the 80s, we were allowed, of course, different from now, that we just gone through the woods, or we follow a creek, or we follow a game trail, or whatever. So I and my buddy from next door, one time we went down to a clearing, not very far from the house, of course. We were always in the vicinity of the house. And we came to this clearing, and it felt odd after a while. And it felt like somebody's watching us, and both of us felt that one. I mean, I was only like 5-6 years old. And we were just looking around, and we said, no, this feels very off. And that was the first time I got this tingling feeling in the back of my neck. That, of course, back then when I was 5-6 years old, I didn't know what it was. I just, like you said, humans are afraid of the dark because we don't see good in the dark. Right. And we don't know what is lurking in the dark. But this was daytime. This was not nighttime or evening or in the late afternoon, because up here in Sweden, of course, we have a different light than you have in most part of the world. Because when we're up north, in the summer, it's daylight all the time, more or less. So in the wintertime and autumn and spring, we have daylight. Of course, depends on where you live in Sweden, but it's very short. But this was in the summertime. So we just looked on each other and said, we have to go. And then we went. And I still remember that feeling. That's the beauty of it, or you can say, I still to this day, I'm 47 years old. This was 42 years ago, and I still remember that feeling. But of course, I didn't know what it was. And we had this this house. It was a pretty big house because, of course, it's a farm. And I was my room was on the second floor, and I facing the woods and also the field. I had one field facing. And sometimes I just stood and look out in the dark, and I just had this same kind of feeling. Of course, it's kids' imagination. Of course, because like I said, I was dead scared of werewolves. I still loved wolves, but dead scared of werewolf stories. And then, of course, when I met Miss Misha, she got the pieces of the puzzle together, of course. But, I mean, that was 42 years later.
Right. So when you met her, did you tell her about your experience that you had at 5, or did she kind of know about it, kind of like a medium? Or?
Exactly. I was telling her about the first time I had this kind of weird feeling, and she just said, no, that was your handler. I was like, what? And then she explained, like we talked about in the previous segment, that it was your handler. And they say, oh, they were evil and stuff like that. No, well, if they were evil, they would have probably revealed themselves and scared the living daylight out of me and my buddy. But of course, he didn't. And the second time, I felt this really, really off thing. Because, the first time, of course, they would get totally silent. But like I said, like you guys, some of you guys also experienced that one in the younger age. Of course, you don't know why they would get silent. It's like you are in a bubble. Mm-hmm. And time just stands still and space just stands still for some reason. And it is within our core that we feel something is off. Exactly like you said, Jeff, about the dark.
Yeah.
It is within our DNA to feel something is off, and you watch your 6 and you feel 2 eyes burning into your back of your neck or in the back. So the second time I was together with a friend of mine, friends of the family. It was approximately 16 miles from where we live. We were friends, or actually our parents been friends since 1972. And I was staying over there. We are at the same age almost, so I was staying over there and we had a great time. And their hunting dog just ran away. And they have actually cattle on their farm. So we had to head down to the woods. It was pine trees. It was not very thick and dark and like a troll wood. And we were yelling for her, searching for her, and all of a sudden, the same feeling came upon us both. That, something is off. The woods got totally silent, and we both felt this same kind of feeling with the first childhood friend. That something is watching us. And it's not a deer. We didn't see any deer. There were no moose standing there, because back then we had a lot of moose in the woods. So we just look upon each other, same thing, the same thing as well. And we said, we gotta go. And it was 7-8 years apart from the first experience, so I remember that feeling from the first time, and I said, something is off here. We have to go. We can't wait for the dog. Maybe she comes back. Of course she did. And we went just up, and that was also in the daytime. And I didn't have any clue about that kind of feeling. But the funny thing is that I, and also the first buddy and the second buddy, felt the same thing. It is not like you imagine it yourself. And you guys who listen, you know for sure that some of you have been 2, 3, a whole company of hunters or people hiking, and you all, or most of you, feel the same thing. So that's a reality, of course, within the group. Doesn't have to be the reality of the world, but you guys share one unique experience, good or bad, but still though you shared. So I was not very fond of the woods, I can say, for many years. Many years. I didn't like to hike, even though I live, like I said, close to recreation areas, close to the woods all my life. Doesn't matter which city I've been living in. I'm not the outdoors person, you can say. And the third time, it was about 2012, 13, when I started to listen to to the different podcasts or YouTube channels. 14, I've been really into it. Not obsessive, but still really into it. And I got my beautiful dog, the guy who is in the picture on my Facebook page. And we were walking in the clearing because it was just a small clearing between our complex and the inner highway, you can say, because we have a ring, you say, that goes around the town. And sometimes when I walked out with him in just this small clearing for the last walk with the dog before we hit the bed, was that I felt something. And that was a really strange feeling as well. I got my mag light and I shone, especially in the winter time. And it was dark. It's pitch dark. And then sometimes I was up at night because I'm a night owl, working night shifts. And I was standing on the third floor because this complex is all just four story high. I was looking to the clearing. I was thinking and feeling that something is looking up upon me in like 3 a.m, the witching hour. And I got this strange feeling, not that I was afraid, and that was way years before I met the cloak hedgehog or Miss Misha. And I was just like, no, something is odd. I don't know why. It feels very strange, but it was not scary, but still an odd feeling that something is off. And I took that very seriously into consideration. I didn't speak to my ex about it. I didn't speak to anybody about it because you don't want to be labeled as a fool or
crazy
or something like that. Because I was really, really into all the podcasts that came out first. You can actually listen to one YouTube channel, which is, unfortunately, they don't do it anymore. It's F'd Up. That was the first one I listened to. And these guys are the pioneers of now the modern different channels. So check it out. And then it happens, I have to read my notes. It happens one more time. And this is funny. A good friend of mine. I've been talking to him about Dogman, the existence of Dogman and Bigfoot, because he lived a couple hours west from Stockholm. And in a small village, and of course, here in Sweden, everything is surrounded by woods. Like I said, it's not like redwood tree, but it's like Montana, Washington, Oregon, but smaller. There's thick, dense woods, more or less, in the whole part of mid-Sweden and North Sweden and Norway and Finland as well. Lakes and lots of woods. And he was on his way home from work one evening, and he had to reveal himself. He had to take a leak. So he just took a U-turn into the parking spot, or not the parking spot, it's like more when you are on the highway, you go and you just turn off to not the skid row, but where the tractors and
like a rest stop.
Yeah, it is like a rest stop, but still not. It's just
pull off,
the way that you can turn around. Yeah, pull off. You can say pull off. And it was dark. It was in late September, he said to me, and he got that feeling as well. And he is not very spiritual, you can say. He's really afraid of everything. So he stood behind the car, and he got this feeling as well. And from the lights of the car, he saw one thing standing on the other side of the game fence, because here in Sweden we have miles and miles and miles of game fence. It's everywhere along the highways, more or less.
And what does that keep, like, deer from running into the highway and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
deer and moose. So it's approximately 7.5 feet tall fence to prevent, not deer, because you can hit the deer and survive, but if
Right.
you crash into a moose, then it's bye-bye,
Yeah.
more or less. So, sorry, 1 second, please.
Yeah.
Turned his head, and he saw this figure standing there with their arms around one pine tree. Because here in Sweden we have pine trees are really big, almost like the Christmas tree, but the pine tree. And what the funny thing is, when he talked to me about it, he knew about what I have told him, and he didn't believe me because it's so far-fetched. But this dogman, he had tufts, you say, yeah? Tufts, not tusks, tufts, like a lynx
Yeah.
on the top of his head. The ears were totally different from the pure ones, which I have realized now. And this guy, he was just standing there, so of course he got so scared, so he almost pissed his pants. Sorry for the straightforward, but he just got the thing done and then jumped in and took away, speeding off towards home, of course. And the funny thing is that exactly the same spot I got my fourth encounter. And luckily Miss Misha filled in on this one. So I was driving actually to his place, spending a weekend there. And it was raining. It was December. I remember it clear as day. And it's deserted. You know, in Sweden here we don't have many rest stops. We have gas stations, of course, and not all of them are open 24/7. Some of them are because we have Circle K now. But I was driving and it was heavy raining and it was winter, but still it was like, you know, what do you say, 35, 36 in Fahrenheit. In Celsius it's like 4-6 degrees.
So not freezing, but cold.
Yeah, almost to the zero
Right.
Celsius, but like 32 in Fahrenheit, but a couple of degrees higher. Because it was raining, it was not mixing with snow, it was really heavy rain. And I really said, I really need to take a leak because I've been drinking so much Cola Zero. I really need to take a leak. Oh, well, here's a stop. I can just go here. And I turned the car. It's of course pitch dark, and my headlight is facing the part of the woods. And then I got the feeling again that no, you should not step out of your car. Just move on. You should not step out of your car, and if you look straight in the same way as the headlight, you're probably going to see something. And I got this really, really not tingling feeling. It was dead scary feeling. That, oh no, otherwise I just have to do it in my pants, or I have to find the next gas station, because I've been riding this way for so many times, so I know that it was a gas station a little bit further on. So I choose not to step out of the car in the rain, and I just went to the gas station instead, of course. And that feeling was so overwhelming. It was not dead fear feeling, but still though, no. Stay in the car, go away. And afterwards, Ms. Misha said that, yeah, it was one of your handlers testing you. I was like, what? And by accident, afterwards, I knew that was exactly the same spot that my friend had stopped at. But the funny thing is, it was the two different dogmen. And she said, yeah, it was a test. And I said, like X miles from Stockholm, and yeah. But they are traveling with you. One of them are traveling with you. Of course. I said, of course, what? No, just to check up upon you. They are running next to you or behind you or in front of you, but they are running. That's why I said they can travel 600 k's in one take or 370 miles in one take if you travel. Because I and Miss Misha are always surveillance 24/7, 365. I know that this sounds totally far-fetched, totally insane. But I can tell you one story later on that prove it. So I just burned out from this, what do you say the name was, Jeff?
Like pit stop, rest stop, pull off.
I said another word, but yeah, pull off, yeah. And I went to the gas station, of course, instead. So that was the first experience I had with, as an adult, with this kind of feeling. And some of you who listen, of course, know the exact same kind of feeling that I felt, because it was not a good feeling. No. Not at all. And later on, afterwards, I met Miss Misha, and we met the Alpha and everything, and she filled all the blanks for me. And I got aware of the things that I know today.
When you met Alpha, when you went to the bog, I'm assuming Miss Misha informed you that you were going to meet the Alpha.
Yeah.
Was there fear? Was there apprehension, excitement? What was the main feeling that you were feeling?
I had been talking to her for, I don't know how many months, but we've been talking hours and hours on the phone, and of course we clicked right off the bat, because it was meant to be that we clicked right off the bat. And I and Miss Misha are just friends. She has her family, I had mine.
Right. So
we're just friends, very close friends, because we are almost like twin souls. We think alike. She's a little bit ahead of me sometimes, and I can fill in because I'm older. I can fill in some advice for her in the ordinary life. And I said I had to come to your place to meet up. He said, yeah, he's been looking forward to meet you because he wants to meet you. Because everything has a time and place in this journey. So I was excited. I'm not overexcited, but I was excited, of course, to finally meet Big Alpha. And I came up to the place. We sat down and had a barbecue with her husband, and then we said, yeah, it was in the summer, in the spring, late spring. So it was daylight here. So we went into the woods and out the lake, and she said they're going to be here. There was so many mosquitoes. It was insane. And also information for you guys, Dogmen are affected by mosquitoes, regardless where they are in the world. They don't like it. And up here in Scandinavia, the mosquitoes are not very big, but they are intense, you can say. And there are actually villages here, or small villages here, who they can't let the cattle out because there are so many mosquitoes.
Yeah, they swarm.
They swarm, and they bomb the lakes with oil, not oil, but olive oil, to prevent the hatching process.
Yeah.
So there was so many mosquitoes, and we're standing there, and she said, "Shh, wait, they're here," and I didn't see anything. I didn't feel this tingly feeling. So she just took a piece of wood and knocked on the tree. Tuk, tuk, tuk. So she just let them know that we were here. So we went out to the bog. We're standing there, and she said, yeah, they're here. Blah, 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 all around us. And I said, no, I can't feel anything. I can't sense anything. I can't see anything. And she was communicating with him, of course, and he was standing exactly as the same as the photo. He was not in the front line. It was the young ones who were standing there, and they were a little bit, not aggressive, but, cocky, you can say. And also the alpha female, she was also in front of Alpha, but she was very, not submissive, but she was hesitant, reserved, you can say. And then she spoke with him telepathically, of course, and that's why he said, well, take a picture. And the young ones are more like, full of what would you say? Testosterone. Yeah. Edit this one out, please. They were like, no, why should they take a picture? We don't want to be in the picture, like obnoxious youngsters. And that's when he said, shush, she will take a picture. And that's a picture that you all see. And I had also a gift for them. And that was bacon. 2 pounds of smoked bacon that I left on the bog. And I said, enjoy. And because you have to pay the respect, and you should always bring a gift to the persons or something else that you are about to visit.
Yeah.
They enjoyed it.
Yep.
He said afterwards, because I saw in one comment that they always like bacon.
They do.
There's
a subscriber, Jody. He had done some experiments, and he realized that for some reason the Sasquatches in Nantahala, in that region of North Carolina, they will come out if you are cooking bacon on an open fire, like if you're camping, and they will run because it's something about the odor, that smell, that goodness.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a sticker that says life is better with bacon. So I mean, bacon's great. So I can't blame them for not liking bacon.
Yeah, and the same thing goes with smoked pork belly or side, as we have here in Sweden as well. The same thing goes with that one, because it's the same kind of aroma, you can say. It's not odor, it's aroma that intrigues these kind of beings to get drawn into the campfire.
That's interesting. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's interesting because in America, and I don't know if it's in Sweden, probably is, because I'm starting to realize that Sweden is very similar to America. A dog treat, one of the dog treats that you can get your dog is a pig ear, and it's an actual pig ear, and it's got that, it doesn't smell like a rawhide, it's got a kind of smoky smell to it. So I mean, I find that kind of interesting that dogs love pig ear in America. They just, I don't know in Sweden if you got that, but
same thing.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense that pork, smoked pork, would be a just something that would drive them to come in closer to.
I think it's just because of the way that not processing that way, but when they smoke meat from the pig, is something that draw them to you.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with burgers. I heard one story years ago. I think it was on a Bigfoot show that they were cooking burgers, of course, with bacon on it, and there was so many Bigfoot who just standing around in the clearing, of course, outside the light. I think they even threw a couple of burgers to them.
That's interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So now, when you left the bacon, did they immediately grab it, or did you have to?
No, they were actually standing they were keeping the distance, because it was the first time I met them. So they were, of course, the rest of the pack were hesitant. They were a little bit like questioning what he is.
What your motives were and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they of course they know Miss Misha. That was a little bit way before she was a full member of the pack, but still, though, she was a prospect, if you use the biker terms.
Okay.
And she was under protection, the Alpha, already back then. Of course, not the full member, but still, though, a prospect, a full prospect, on her way to be a member of the pack.
Okay.
But when you have 20 individuals and becomes a guy that they never heard about, seen or anything, and he was stepping into their territory, of course they would be like, who is he? Why is he here? And then, of course, Alpha said, cool, he's invited by me. that's the feeling I got also, because I turned to Big Alpha and paid my respect to him.
Right.
Not like submissive. I was thinking, oh, it's so good to, like, if when we meet for the first time, Jeff, now hopefully in 2023.
Yeah.
I would say, so nice to meet you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Really
like
nice
a respect, like a respect.
Yeah. As you do with people that you've been talking
exactly.
or chatting with. Like, so nice to meet you. I heard so much good about you.
Right.
And that's the same thing I did to Big Alpha. And I mean, he's been my protector and surveillance, or not my guardian, but the one who watched over me since I was a kid. Of course, I paid respect to him.
Right. Yeah.
And you have to do it, because you have to be respectful. Like I said, you have to be respectful, show your loyalty, show your respect to them, but not in a submissive way when you are prospecting for being a full member.
Mm-hmm.
Because they of course are on a higher level in that way. They are full members, but you have to prove yourself, like I said, into my soul, and see that I was actually a good choice.
Yeah. Now
that was the whole purpose to being up there, to show myself, and they can see me as I am, and hear me speaking and connecting, and that I was in connection with, actually in sync with Miss Misha. And of course she put herself on the line and said, yeah, Tobias is, sorry, edit that one out. John is coming up to pay his respect and want to meet you. And Alpha, of course, wants to meet me.
Yeah, that's I mean, I wonder when, okay, because you had said like you weren't submissive and stuff like that. When wolf packs are together, or there's an alpha in this wolf pack, and a male who is obviously less than the alpha will be very submissive and kind of roll on their back and stuff. Do the younger dogmen, are they submissive? Not necessarily do they roll on their back, but are they very submissive to the alpha?
Yes, because otherwise they get their ass whooped.
Okay.
In that way, you know, if you challenge alpha in any way, not like you are having a teenager, but because it's the alpha and the beta couple who setting the rules, like parents.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, they are the beta couple because they have to prove themselves to be beta couple as well.
Right.
So the same thing with wolves. It's not the alpha who discipline the pups in that way. They are nurses for the alpha's pups, but they are the ones, exactly like you have a maid or a nanny.
Mm-hmm.
But when it gets out of hand, then the parents step in and discipline the kids.
Okay.
So they are, of course, submissive, but not in a bad way, you can say.
Okay.
They know the place, and if they don't know the places, you'll be sure that Alpha would just take a look upon them and say, like he said, shush.
Right.
I'm in charge here.
Yeah.
Everybody know the picking order. They don't pick on each other, but the picking order is the same thing with the military, the same thing with a wolf pack, the same thing is with a bunch of dogs who are roaming around together.
Yeah, even at work, there's a pecking order, you know, even in the jobs. I really want to hear more about, I mean, I'm on a time restraint, but I wanted to ask you a question. You had said you had a experience or something that would prove that they were there to protect you. Can you share that?
Yeah. I was traveling from Norway to Sweden last winter, and I actually stated that one on the other channel, which I just written my experience with too. I was driving in a small village in the one part of Sweden, the western part of Sweden from Norway. I just came across the border, and I had a small car. I have a small car, not very big car, like a shoebox, but big shoebox.
Right.
So just in the city line, or the village, the line of the village, you can say, because it's not a city, one car in front of me is just swerved, and it was winter time. About 1.5 meter high embankment of snow on each side, which is how many feet? 5 feet, 6 feet? No, 6 feet. 4 feet, 4 or 5 feet. 4, 5, between 4 and 5 feet high. And I just traveled about 45 miles per hour, so it was not fast because it within the limits of this village. And then I just saw, because I have very bad high beams, because we don't, of course, drive with high beams when you have a car in front of you.
Right.
And it was one moose who were 6 feet. A young moose, but still 6 feet tall. And it was out on the road, and something happened to it. So he just, what is the word, Jeff? I forgot the word. When he stand on the hind leg and just
like
kicking with his front leg.
Like a kick? I don't like.
No. Can you pause 1 second?
Yeah.
I just and this moose, it just enchanced, and his back legs was on the embankment, and he just almost did a flip, not the flip, but it was so strange, and he just went the other way toward the woods, and I was like, how did this happen? Because it was a millisecond, it was 1 yard from hitting my car, and if I would hit this moose, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys or inform you guys. I wouldn't be dead probably, but still, that was a close call.
Right.
And then I went down to Stockholm, and nothing happens, and I just paused it just by the road.
Okay.
Because I was so tired. And I just stepped out of the car. Back then I was smoking, unfortunately. And I just heard panting next to me. And I said, well, guys, take a 5 minutes break. So I stood there and just waiting, because it was dead silent all around, and the stars were shining, and the snow was glittering, and it was in the middle of night. No, I mean, somewhere out, way off any civilization. And then I would just jump in my car and continue the trip back to Stockholm.
And that was your handlers, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I had before talked to Miss Misha about it, and she said, you can ask for protection. And I said, cool. And then when I travel long distance, I just ask for protection, that they clear everything with wild game, so I don't collide.
Right.
People would think I'm nuts, but I know what happened. And she said, yeah, they saved you from that one.
Well, the way you explain it is, you've got the moose in front of you, and then all of a sudden it does this kind of
enchant.
Yeah, just very strange, and then it's off into the woods in a split second. That's not physically possible. You know, it's just something that's not possible. It's not something. There's two different things. You could say it's something you don't see every day, but no, this is something that just is not possible. It's just not even physically possible to happen, and it happened in front of you, you know.
I was less than 1 yard from hitting that moose on his front legs. 1 millisecond, because I was traveling, like I said, like 45 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
And this happened, that he enchant and just run away because they scared him off, or some of them throw him for some reason, something like that.
Crushed
and that
your
was
car.
My guardians. And like I said, I and Miss Misha, we have our respective guardians 24/7, 365.
Are they the same or different? Like, are your guardians her? Okay.
No. I have my the same.
Your own. Okay.
Two from my pack and two from her pack, because Big Alpha is not the guardian. He just look up. He's in connection with us, so he knows everything what's going on in the ordinary life.
Now, when you say two from your pack and two from her pack, just so there's no confusion, and yet Miss Misha is part of Alpha's pack. These two that are yours and two that are hers, are they in Alpha's pack? So they're all in one pack, correct?
No.
No. Okay. How does that work? If she would the ones that protect Miss Misha be part of Alpha's pack if she's part of his pack, or no?
She is part of his pack, because his pack is the original one where she lives.
So her guardians would be from Alpha's pack.
Yeah.
Okay, and yours are a different pack though. Yours are from a different pack? Okay.
Mine is, in biker terms, mine are Stockholm chapter.
Okay.
And her is blah, blah, blah chapter.
Okay.
And blah, blah, blah chapter is the great chapter.
All right.
Where the president of Sweden is situated.
The Alpha Dogman
would
be.
The Big Alpha. Okay. I wouldn't say the original
chapter,
but that's the main chapter.
Right.
The head office, you can say.
And another thing that I wanted to clear up too, that you just kind of reminded me of, is Alpha's only 60-something years old, correct? Is that what you said?
Yes, he's about 60 to 65 years old.
So, and
they don't count, of course, they don't count dog years, but they
right.
Human years.
So he's been around on this planet for that long. And he's, of course, acquired massive information from the past and from just him living his life. So it's, and I'm not...
He's been... Oh, sorry, Jeff. He's been Alpha for 40 years. I've actually texted Miss Misha about it. And he's been Alpha since he was 20 years old.
Okay.
And the reason why he got so young as an Alpha, I don't know yet. But if you just compare to the courts, once again, because his father was the Alpha before him, probably. They can vote to different Big Alpha all around the world if they messed up. It's like a console.
Right.
But otherwise, you inherited this thing because you also inherited all the information and knowledge. Not everything comes from higher power.
Right, like a kingship, kind of like, it's just passed along.
It is exactly like courts. It is exactly like kingship, exactly like that one. But
does he have children?
You can also be charged if you messed up, if you're not the right.
Right, if you don't live up here, right.
Yes, the standards, and that's why he's so majestic.
Okay.
He is incredible majestic. You can see that in the picture. And you see, when you meet, if any of you would have met Queen Elizabeth II, she is, or actually was, still is, the Queen. Doesn't matter if you're Republican or if you are in favor of royalties. So many people respect her because she is the Queen. She was the key to the past. Charles will never be the one.
Right.
William would never be the one. Because she has an aura of being this queen-like, majestic, proper majestic, in the right way.
Yep.
In my opinion. That's only my opinion. But she was something else. And she was the key to the old way of look upon kings and queens and stuff. You can also say the emperor of Japan. Now I think is an empress in succession, but there is still one emperor. Those two courts have the longest history of being a court in the bloodline, almost straight down. The rest of all kings and prince and princess and queens, but those ones, if you see the old emperor of Japan, he has the same vibe, he has the same aura of being majestic. The same thing goes with Alpha. He is majestic.
Right.
So it was like I met a president or a royalty, but I am what I am. I can shake a hand to any president because they are not above me in that way, but they have this title. But still, you pay respect to somebody who are older and way more knowledgeable than you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I can tell you actually on air, I had the opportunity to meet Mrs. Presley one time.
Okay.
And she has the same aura. She has the same aura, a queen-like aura, grace, elegance, style.
Right.
And not many people have it. They don't have it. A few people have it. Or has. I don't know if it's have or has, but they has it.
Yep. Yeah,
and
that's amazing.
it's the same kind of aura when I met Alpha, Big Alpha. So that's why I'm so respectful and humble to have met it first time. Definitely.
Yep. Like I said, I'm kind of on a time restraint. We're about an hour in. I got one last question I kind of wanted to ask, and
yes, sir.
Does Alpha have children?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Many of them, and how does he treat them, or have you been around them enough to not, or know or not know?
No.
Okay.
I haven't been. Miss Misha has been, of course, because she is within the pack. So I'm going to check with her further on to answer that question.
Okay.
But what I sense now is that he has sons.
Okay.
And just like you said, the courtship or
a succession, he's got to have a son
Yeah, and there are, like I stated before in the previous segments, there are the oldest son is the one who takes the reign after Big Alpha dies.
Right.
And he's been, of course, raised like a future Alpha. So he get more knowledge than the other ones to a certain extent. And then, of course, when they become Alpha, they get the rest of the knowledge from the higher power. Because of course it's a process for them too.
Yeah.
It's kind of pretty heavy burden to be, 15 and suddenly you know everything. Like I said, they have the regulations and rules here on Earth as well. But as long as they are here on Earth, they have to play by this kind of rules and regulations. And then I just can say that some of the listeners ask, why don't they jump to different dimensions when they get hunted? No, because they have regulations while here on Earth. If they get shot at and injured, they die here. If not, they go to another dimension to heal. That's their only chance to close the door behind them in the corridor and fast go to open up the other door and go to the other dimension to heal. So that's why they have to play by certain rules,
right,
and regulations here on Earth for everything.
Yeah.
Because they are not aparted from the things that the rest of us are. Doesn't matter if you're cryptid, if you're alien, or if you're human. It sounds crazy, I know, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's
if you're here on Earth, you have to play by the earthly rules.
Yeah, there's always rules that you've got to follow. I mean, and if you choose not to follow them, then there's punishment.
Yeah, that's why you can save yourself, or a lot of people have saved themselves from evil, because they put salt around the house or on the threshold. That's why they say Saint Michael's prayer, or they run into the church, because evil has to play by the same rules as the good ones. On the other side of the coin, of course, or the fence. I don't know how you say it in English, but that's the way it is. And that makes sense too, if you think about it. That's why you should not be dabbing with evil. That's why you should not be dabbing with Ouija boards, and because we are humans. We don't know everything. We can't handle everything.
We don't have the comprehension of something so powerful beyond our.
No.
Yeah.
That's why this demonic demonic Dogman and demonic Bigfoot and other demonic beings, they shy away when you say a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, maybe, but most of them, as far as I heard. And it's very good to know Saint Michael's prayer.
Yeah.
Or pray to God or Jesus, whatever you like. But still, though, Saint Michael is very powerful, so that's why he's Saint Michael.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I go out around some places, I definitely gonna say Saint Michael's prayer. Then you have protection. Oh, of course, I have protection from my pack and B Alpha, but if you not have protection from super werewolves, then it's good to have the protection from holy water or Saint Michael's prayer or whatever rocks your boat.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. I do have to end the interview today. I know we'll probably do, if it's good and feasible for you, one more show before you go into hiatus. And
I think it's going to be like 2-2, Jeff, because I have so many answers. Too many questions to answer, and also the last segment of this show, because I haven't actually touched bottom with my 2 last experience, so we can start with that one.
I didn't want to push you with the question and then answer one, so
no.
Yeah,
I really like this segment, because it's more like talking than more an interview and Q&A, and I hope all the ones who listen that they enjoyed this one and appreciate this one, because, like I said, as you hear in my voice, I'm a little bit drained.
Yeah.
Definitely drained from the whole experience, because it's overwhelming in one way.
It's a Wednesday right now when we're recording this. This will come out on a Thursday. Why don't we give it a couple days for you to rest, and then I don't know, whatever day is best for you.
Sunday, I think, or
we can do Sunday. Yes. Sunday would be perfect, and then
whatever fits your schedule, because I'm up for it. Like I said, I'm big alpha. It gives me energy, but it is draining in one way. And the ones who are spiritual, guys, exactly what I'm talking about.
Right. So Sunday will be perfect.
I'm not whining and moaning and feel pity and feel sorry for myself. This information has to come out, but I didn't expect that it should be.
You weren't prepared. You weren't. Yeah, you weren't ready to. I mean, you thought. And you had said this to me. You were ready to do this. You're still ready to do this, but you were shocked or surprised when because I remember when you said, "Wow, I'm really drained." I just. Yeah. That episode drained me, and that's understandable completely.
If you look upon from the first time that I spoke in 180, and compared to this chat, it's miles apart.
Yeah,
miles apart, my friend.
Yep. Well, this was great too. I mean, I had a lot of fun with this platform, this kind of format.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
So Sunday this will come out Thursday. Sunday we'll record the next one where you can finish off this upload. And then that'll come out Monday. And then if you need a couple days or a week to rest, we can wait a week and then do the last Q&A, 2 Q&As or whenever. However many you are ready to do, I've got a platform for you. All right, my friend?
Thank you, my friend. I think I'm going to be amped up more when we do the Q&As in that way, because now it's more like telling the stories, and we've been actually a little bit
philosophical. Philosophical.
Yes,
I got you, buddy.
Philosophical. Can you cut that one out as well? Philosophical in that way, and I like to have a chat on air and off air with Jeff, because we just get back and forth with different ideas, different views. We don't agree on everything, people.
No.
But still, though, we are on the same page, and that's the beauty of it when you connect with somebody, that we can actually be that way.
Yep. All right, my friend, I do have to go because I am going to be late for my appointment.
Yep.
It was wonderful talking with you, and
likewise.
Don't hang up because I want to say goodbye to you privately. No. So I'll talk to you soon, all right, my friend?
Yes, my friend, and thank you, everybody, for all the questions. Keep them coming, and I will answer them, and I will gather them and answer them as far as I can and as good as I know. Thank you very much.
And there you have it, part 1 through 3 of the interviews with John Phoenix. I didn't want to share the preliminary interview in these because it wouldn't have made sense, him talking about things in part 1, 2, or 3 that he had already quickly discussed in the preliminary. So these were the in-depth conversations that we had. I hope you guys enjoyed them as much as I enjoyed sharing them with you. And I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is your support that keeps this channel growing and going, and what gives us all a place to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone's treated with the respect that we all deserve, so thank you. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.